Fuck that house mob. I'm back. To the top, I'ma make it. Niggas just can't take it. To the top, I'ma make 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 it.
Yo, yo, yo. What is up, destination? We are again without AJ tonight. We were even contemplating coming on, but we figured, why the hell not? You show up when you win, you show up when you lose, you show up when it's ugly. That's just life. That's what you do. You take the heat when it comes and you deal with it. So it is what it is. Julian Chubbs, welcome. Rage might pop in. AJ said he might pop in. I think AJ's down bad right now. He's a little depressed. Maybe I'm not quite sure what he's doing, but no excuses tonight. We should have won this game. The two reasons, well, I'm not saying they're not excuses, but the two reasons we did lose the game is James Harden's horrible shooting, 5 of 21. I'm just gonna put the stat shit up because this we were, even with James Harden's shitty shooting tonight, we were handling this team. We were winning. We were playing decent good. I don't know how we lost this game, but the only two things that I can really point out of why we lost this game is James Harden, his 5 for 21 and his 1 for 5 from 3. I'm okay with all the other stats. Obviously, the ton of he had open looks at the rack, just could not finish. And Steve Nash's moron call to play Bruce Brown in crunch time with the fourth, as good as Bembry's been playing. Same thing. Yes, Bruce Brown had 12 rebounds, but at the same time, same thing. Could not put the ball in the basket, and had numerous opportunities to do that with, if just Bruce and James Harden put in half of what they tried to make, we probably would have won this game. Why Bembry was not in at the end of this game is beyond me. Oh, we do have a special guest in here. He actually came up. What up, AJ?
Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Welcome, dude.
Good,
welcome.
Yeah, I'm on the road right now, but shit, I can't even I can't even call it like. And I was gonna text you this saying, James Harden in the press conference just said, "This loss is on me." He said it. This loss is on me. Check Ajayi Brown's tweets. Ajayi Brown's tweets.
All right, I'll check it out.
Yeah.
No, that's good. I mean, hey, I'm glad because to me, the only reason we lost was James Harden and having Bruce Brown in the fourth quarter. Made no sense to me. You should have ran Bembry out there. I understand maybe rotating him in and out a little bit. You need a little extra defense at times, but there's no reason Bembry, as well as Bembry has been playing for this team, and he was hitting his threes. He was actually scoring. He was playing great defense. He still had 7 rebounds. So what is it that you see in his game that you would think, no, I need to put Brown in there at the end of the game to close it out?
Yeah, Bruce was doing good in the first half. I think he made an impact in the first half, but
just with his rebounding. Yeah, he was only 2 for. Yeah, the only impact Bruce Brown made tonight was with his rebounding, hustle, like some assists. He had a steal. Like, he was playing good defensively. But we didn't need that right now. We had Bembry playing the good defense and being able to score, and Brown was 2 for 11. So, and James Harden 5 for 21. I mean, bro, like,
you're not driving, are you, AJ?
Yeah, I am.
You're driving, boy. Get off the phone, bro. What's wrong with you?
He could have a co-pilot. You don't know. We don't know. He could be co-pilot right now, bro.
I had to drop in, bro. I had to drop in because, like I said, this was on my mind. I feel you. It was on my mind.
Yeah, bro.
Like with Harden, it's just I can't keep doing this, bro. Like,
One step
I
forward,
know.
two
Yeah.
steps back.
Yeah, I can't keep doing this, bro. It's always against the good teams, which just hurts me too. It's all the good teams that we
Yeah.
need to beat. You know, it just keeps hurting me. It keeps hurting me, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's tough,
Yeah.
bro. We should be blowing some of these teams out. Maybe not the Bulls, but I feel like we should have, like, if he was on point, bro, we would have won by like 15, you know? And
Yeah.
it's like you can't criticize him for having a bad game because like the fans be tweaking, like they don't want you to call out when something is bad. It's like it's tough, bro. This is what 24 games in, 20, 23, 20, 24.
I don't want to see no Harden stands in the chat either, because Harden literally said it himself. Go check the tweet.
Well,
Or the press
Real
conference.
Royal
He
was
literally
in the
said it.
Discord trying to defend him, and it wasn't going well. And I don't know if he'll pop up tonight. But oh, hey AJ,
Oh no,
by
he
the
not
way,
popping up.
a new segment popped up last night, and it was called "What's AJ doing?"
AJ.
Segment. Yeah. Like,
So
so we didn't
I
talk
said you
about
was out here in the
anything, but
streets.
yeah, we were coming up with all kinds of reasons last night. Like,
what's
where's
AJ doing?
What's
Segment?
AJ doing? Yeah.
Nah, I'm not
Yeah,
gonna lie, the
AJ,
Kyrie
I was
segment-
saying that you was out here in these streets. That's what I was saying.
Yeah, you were putting work in somewhere, bro.
the Kyrie segment. Y'all had me dying with the Kyrie segment. Watch that.
Oh, you like that? Kyrie's
Yeah,
playing
I'm
for Seton Hall now.
bro.
Yeah,
Seton
you
Hall,
might
I
like
was
tonight.
The Seton Hall, I was in tears. That was funny.
Before we like get into it and let people come up, can you actually see the screen like while you're driving, or no? Or are you just talking?
Yeah, I can see it.
All right, because we might as well do, since we are doing the what's AJ doing. AJ's driving. We don't know if he's going to like another state or another foreign country. We don't know if he's driving to Canada trying to get out. Like, we don't know what he did last night, so he could be running from the law. We have no idea.
I'm about to pull up. I'm pulling up on James Harden's crib. I'm about to pull up and talk to him.
in the spirit of what AJ is doing, we're gonna get what's Kyrie doing out of the way real quick tonight. All right. So earlier in the day, Kyrie went out and he went on a spiritual path today. And I'm not quite sure I don't know if this was in America or he went to like another country, like took his private jet, but he went and visited his shaman today. Right.
Yeah.
So I'm not quite sure what this guy's name, but he's asking like the shaman, like, what should I do? How do I get out of this? Like, what should I go forward? Should I get the vaccine? Should I not? Should I just sit back and collect money and do nothing? And the guy said, go take your 17 million and meditate on that shit. So, so Kyrie was deep in thought today, bro.
Oh my God.
That's a good pose, you know.
Yeah, I mean, he's been
Kyrie.
I think he did a little ayahuasca today too. I think
Shamanry.
Rage was supposed to give me Rage was supposed to give me some more photos of Kyrie doing ayahuasca tea, and he was hallucinating earlier, and hopefully Kai Buddha here comes to some conclusions soon, because we do need him.
He needed to sage the Bulls tonight. Like we needed to sage tonight. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, that is true. We should have saged. But after done, Kyrie was, contemplating his life decisions. Before like the game was over, Kyrie, like, since he's going to school at Seton Hall, like, he broke down like the mathematical thing, because KD did pass Ray Allen tonight.
Yes, he did.
24th on the scoring. So this was Kyrie breaking down the mathematical, like how it all happened. Like, this was his math setup. Like, he had 24,000 points or something. But then Kyrie was like trying to break down as many points as he had this year, and he realized he couldn't come up with shit. So that's Kyrie's math. Like that's an equation of how many points he has this year. And then, of course, as always, Kyrie ended the day by watching the Bulls come back and pinch us.
Professor Kyrie.
He pinched us in the last minute. Kyrie was just chilling. This, to me, is very poignant today. This is very the more and more I see this picture that somebody made, it's so true. So that's Kyrie's today. Wasn't as great as the other what's Kyrie doing today, but it is what it is. It was just so frustrating today. I didn't even want to come on today at all, man. Like
Yeah, it was tough.
it just when you watch because we had, I mean, the thing is we had a different lineup than we had the last time, right? And we looked really good. And it looked great for the third quarter, first 2 quarters, we looked really good. Third quarter, we got to see more of Brown and we saw more of like Harden continue to not do stuff. And it was rough. You know, that was like the slow. Then we picked it back up in the fourth, and then it just went back and forth until all they needed was like a 4 or 5 point lead. The Bulls did, and then it was just like DeMar DeRozan time. Like, dude could not miss from mid range. You know, I get the tired legs, Watcher Noir, but there was no like this back to back doesn't like. It's not like we had a knockout drag out game yesterday because guys were just running around lackadaisical yesterday. It's like tonight's game was very, very winnable. There really, to me, is just no excuse for that outside of just bad play. But I don't know. I'm getting annoyed that we can't seem to beat these good teams right now. It's frustrating. You know, we were in line to have a good game and feel good about something and be like, okay, shit's working. And then it just falls apart like right at the end. Like, shout out to the Bulls, man. They held it together at the end. Shout out to DeRozan. People like to bag on him, but the dude showed up in the fourth quarter and couldn't miss. So I don't know. We lost AJ, but Chubbs, I know you're speechless. I don't know if you're gonna remain speechless.
I'm not gonna remain speechless, but fuck.
You want me to go, Chubbs?
Real quick. I missed something earlier. I think Jelani, I got wrapped up. I believe Jelani. Yeah, here it was. Jelani, I appreciate you for the super chat. I totally spaced out. James Harden played like absolute cheeks today, 24% bad. Mm-hmm. I appreciate that, dude. He definitely did. KGT, shout out to you. Same thing. Love not to hate. Try to build from this lost, people. Aren't you like in school right now in college and you can't spell correctly? I'm just playing. I'm playing KGT.
Why are you doing?
Just play. Because KGT's. I like KGT. I'm just playing with him. Yeah. I mean, it is. Yes, it is. It is very early in the season. We are getting it together, but yeah, dude.
What more? What can you even say? How many times can we come up in here and just say the same shit? But I'm really speechless because it wasn't like Harden. It wasn't like he was scared. He was driving to the paint. He was blowing by people. He looked good, but he couldn't make a bucket.
He got to the rim. He was missing a lot. He was missing bunnies, like missing little layups.
Yeah, it wasn't like where he drove and then he stopped being scared of foul and be called, so he's just forcing a pass. Like, he just couldn't make shots. So I'm just speechless.
I got a question for y'all.
I don't know what to say.
Yeah.
What's up, AJ?
Do you think we could have played a different defense on DeMar DeRozan in that fourth quarter, or like switch up the defense on him? Because it's not like he was hitting threes. It was just straight middies. Like,
I know, bro, like there's really not like a good defense for like a really good mid-range shooter, in my opinion. Like we could have tried something different though for a
fact.
But
they were getting the switch on LA at the end, and you did see DeMar DeRozan get the switch, pull all the way back beyond the 3-point line, and then get like a running pull-up start. And you know, LA is just not going to get up there and get that quick.
Yeah.
I don't know if Bembry. I mean, yeah, I was thinking. It said, "I know I'm going to totally fuck up your name, Eucoria Cipher."
Yeah, your name is you.
You see. Yeah, put Bembry in and have him guard DeRozan. Yeah, like I would have felt much better with Bembry guarding in there. Again, I still think teams are going to look for that switch. You know, especially like people are going to look for that switch on LA at times, especially when DeMar DeRozan's like hitting like that and he's feeling it. I don't think anybody really would have shut DeRozan down, whether it was Bembry or not. Like the thing about DeRozan is he was being smart those last 5 minutes of the game with his shots. Like he was not overdoing it. He was taking mid ranges. He knew he could get, that's why the mid range is the lost art of the NBA. Like people,
high percentage, bro.
it's
Like
high percentage, and I don't know why people don't go to it more often. And DeRozan knew that, and he just stuck with it.
If a mid-range shooter is hot, bro, like it's too high percentage of a shot for it to like not work. That's why all the best like clutch players, when you think about MJ, Larry, Kobe, whoever, KD, like they all have mid-ranges. It's like it's so hard to beat that if somebody's on like that. But the first step would have definitely been like, to deal with, the DeMarcus, not the LaMarcus switch. Like DeRozan was eating on that.
And it didn't help too. Somebody asked why was JJ out. I didn't get an explanation on why JJ was out. That kind of, the way he's
said his shoulder.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Shoulder
strain. Yeah, shoulder soreness.
Shoulder strain.
Yeah. Shout out to Stephen O. Kyrie really gonna cause KD to get burnt out.
At this point, it's probably more likely going to happen.
Yeah. I mean, listen, I think the calls for Kyrie, where are you, are going to only get louder the more the season goes on, and the fact that we seem to keep getting into games like this against good teams, I think that's only going to get louder. But
there's like a 10% chance of that man coming back as of right now, bro. It's looking so rough, bro. I don't even.
Put it this way: if we lose to the Lakers, trade Kyrie or trade Harden is going to be the biggest talk. I'm guaranteeing.
That's a fact.
If we lose to the Lakers, like if we get like really badly lose to the Lakers, trade Kyrie or trade Harden is going to be the topic moving into.
Maybe both.
Probably both. Like this is bad, bro. Like
I just don't like. I mean, let's stay on Harden for a minute. It's like. I see that it's like you see that it's still there in him at the ability to play good, right? But he just keeps going forward a game, and then it's like he takes 2 steps back. It's like I don't know what it is about his game right now that's not allowing him to have consistency.
That's why I was feeling
and
like,
that's I think the most frustrating thing about Harden is it's not consistent.
Yeah, I think it's the refs, or is it? I'm trying to figure out.
What'd you say?
It's not the refs anymore. It's not the refs.
I mean, he's not getting. I'm telling you, he's not getting to the. He didn't go to the line a lot. He only went to the line twice.
I think KD has more of a beef with the refs than Harden does, because what I've seen with Harden when he has games like this, he's just being lazy. His passes are lazy. He doesn't have that first step. He's like, he has games like he had tonight. Yes, it's a back-to-back, but I've also seen him play like this when it's not a back-to-back.
Yeah.
So, but he has been struggling. Like if he doesn't get over 10 from the line, like he doesn't really score consistently. So it's not. I don't know if it's necessarily like a problem that he has with the refs. But as of right now, like he still is kind of leaning on the getting to the line. He only got there twice tonight, and I think it plays a factor, but it's also his scoring in general is just like, and then like you said, Saint, the lazy turnover, the lazy stuff, and
because this is the thing. Your boy here said this. I'm getting tired of this answer because it's not just this anymore. Like new NBA rules or conditioned physically, it's not just that, bro. Because it's like I like Harden. I'm not going to be like one of those people like he's sold, trade him, get rid of him, he's trash. He's washed. I'm not that person. You've heard me talk Harden up, and it's same thing with like if Kyrie was here, same thing. Like I'm mad at Kyrie, wish he was here, but I know he's good. Okay, I'm not going overboard on Harden, but I just, if I wouldn't necessarily say that it's the NBA rules or he's not conditioned physically. There's got to be more to it than that.
It's not
because everybody
anymore.
was.
We're 20.
Go on, dude.
I was gonna say we're 20 plus games in. It's not conditioning anymore, bro. It's not.
No, and everybody was praising him last game.
Go for 39. Like, come on, bro. It's not.
Everybody needs to watch the last stream where Harden went off, right? everybody was praising him. Okay, he's back. You saw a different side of him. He was exploding. He dunked a putback dunk. Like, so he's there. It's not the NBA rules anymore. Like, I just think in general, refs are being shitty to everybody. This was another shitty ref called game, in my opinion, especially after last night. But last night was the worst.
And they already asked Harden like about his hamstring. He said it's not his hamstring good.
Yeah,
he said it's not like he's not rehabbing to it anymore. Yeah, they asked him that.
Yeah. He I don't know that's why when he had that game 2 games ago against the Knicks, I was really like bigging him up because and he deserved to be celebrated, and he deserves a pat on the congratulations, But that's why I was like we need to see some consistency, though. That doesn't mean you have to drop 36 or whatever he dropped again. But it's like last game, he shot really bad. He didn't really, and then this game. So it's like it's looking tough right now.
Shout out to Mario Crimson. Meanwhile, Jared Allen straight balling.
He said balling.
He's been killing, bro.
Dude.
He's been killing, bro.
He hooping.
That was my favorite. Everybody asked. That was my favorite net. So it does. For me, I will always go back in. I will. Well, no, dude, you've heard me since like last year. How many times have I asked? Multiple times. Low key, would you have sometimes taken that trade back?
I would have. I mean, now it's probably.
I'm just saying, like Jared Allen was became my favorite net of all time. Like, I absolutely love Jared Allen. That was my guy. But yeah, it's just hard. It's hard because ultimately tonight we should have won this game.
Yeah,
hands down. No excuse. No bullshit.
How y'all?
What's up?
How y'all feel about Paul Millsap? I mean, he was getting a lot of hate. How you feel about Paul Millsap?
Played great today.
He was getting a lot of hate.
Paul Millsap's numbers: 6 for 11, 7 rebounds, 2 assists. Well, it's like I said the other day. I mean, maybe 3-4 streams ago, people were, ready to write him off, and I just said, hey, I'm giving Paul Millsap like 5 to 15 game kind of thing, more like a 10 game thing. If I'm being fair, more like a 10 game run, because before he left for his child being born, he was only getting 5-minute runs, right? And then he went away for a bunch for his child. And then now he's come back and he's been playing more and he's been getting better each game. So I'm hoping that trend continues like it did for James Johnson. I got no complaint. I mean, literally, if you look at the numbers tonight and you look at everybody's play, everybody did what they were supposed to tonight. Except James Harden. And it's hard for me to say Bruce Brown. I expect Bruce Brown to hit all 11 shots that he tried to take. I still feel like he did what he was supposed to as far as getting his 12 rebounds, his 2 assists, his steal. Like, he did what we expect him to do. But to have him in the fourth after not playing at all during a crunch time and you're trying to save the game, why would you go to him when he hasn't played for shit and not give it to Bembry, who's been showing in game out, day in, like game in, game out since he got in the thing? Why wouldn't you have him in the fourth? Like, makes no sense to me. So everybody, if you look at the stats, everybody did what they were supposed to. Patty wasn't hitting. A lot of
people in double digits.
Yeah, Patty had 13. He only took 1 3-point shot. I wish he would have taken a little bit more, but I think the Bulls actually did play him very well. There was a 3-point shot that Patty had that KD passed him the ball, and there wasn't anybody around him for like 15 feet, and he held the ball and then he passed it. That kind of sucked a little, but whatever. I mean, outside of that, though, I'm like, oh, no, I'm sorry. Patty, I'm looking at the wrong stat line. Patty was 2 for 5 from 3. He still shot 50% from the field. He had 12 points. Paul Millsap had 13. Cam Thomas, 3 for 9. He missed 0 for 2 from 3, but he still had some great passes, great rebounds. He had 2 steals. He had 8 points. I don't think you can argue with that. Like, even LA dipped in with 20 points. Kevin Durant. another close to 50% shooting, 10 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 blocks, 28 points. It just the big fat egg was the James Harden scoring and no Bembry in the fourth. I
And
mean,
the late game decisions by Nash, late game play calling, late game decisions by Nash. You know, he's always struggled with that. So it's like,
But bro,
how can we get over
I'm
that?
sorry.
You know?
There was too many people we could have played over Bruce Brown in that second half, and even in the
Of
closing.
course.
Like, he had a great first half, but bro, he was utterly like, "What are you doing here?" type useless in this second half. Bro. It was bad. It was bad.
I mean, quick thing to ask shout out to chat. Like, hey, do you guys think there was anything outside of like the James Harden and Bruce Brown call? Because I'm convinced we did what we were supposed to. Everybody else did what they were supposed to during the game. I didn't have any issues with Nash's play call, like, sub in, and even his timeouts, really. Maybe one towards the end he could have called sooner, but I really didn't have an issue with Nash at all until that fourth quarter, where it was just like, what the fuck are you doing? So it's like, if anybody in chat has a different take of why we lost this game, to me, it just simply comes down to wrong guy in the fourth and James Harden just not being able to connect. And shout out to KGT for a super chat. Against good teams, I like Brown plus Bembry lineup. I would use Brown sparingly through the game, but at the end, at the crunch time, I want Bembry in, because Bembry gives you more. He shows you that he can still score at the rack if he needs to, and he still plays damn good defense. So I agree with you to some degree, KGT, but I look at Brown as more of a filler throughout the first 3 quarters. But when it comes to that fourth quarter, I want Bembry in there closing that out.
Yeah.
Somebody in the chat said no offensive system.
Yeah, I would agree with that to some degree. I mean, we were looking good the first 2 quarters. Offensively, we looked good. People were communicating. The ball was moving around. Third quarter, a little bit, but we still maintained. It was just the fourth quarter. People went cold, man, and you had the wrong people.
I know Harden had 14 assists, but like when our offense isn't like as smooth, like when he's on the court, like does some of that fall on him? Even though he had 14, like he have ran the offense a little better when he was on the court.
Here's the thing: he had 0 turnovers tonight. Like, this makes
hallelujah.
So it's just down to him scoring.
Yeah, turnovers wasn't even an issue. Good point, Chubb.
He had no turnovers.
Yeah.
1, 2,
so you felt like he ran the offense like really good when he was on the court?
We only had five turnovers tonight. That's huge.
I'm really asking. I'm not saying that I thought he didn't do it good. But I'm asking.
Right now, his problem is he needs to score, and right now, like as far as scoring, he can't get it together at the moment. He took 21 shots. Like, mind you, most of our gripes, we all said he doesn't take much shots recently, and he took 21 shots, and he still wasn't effective. Like, I don't know what more to say. Like, what's wrong with him?
I'm beginning to think it's more mental than anything, bro. But shout out real quick to Prod by chance. Game there was at the end. Bad shooting, lost this. Shout out to you. Appreciate the super chat. I mean, honestly, you could say that maybe a little fatigue from a back-to-back, but to me, I'm beginning to honestly think it's more mental than anything with him. I mean, he has continually been on the record.
Like, he took 21 shots. You can't even say that's mental. Like,
you can. No, that's not true. I mean, there are great shooters in the league that have gone on shitty tears and they're getting open looks and they're not tired and their mechanics mentally you can be off, whether you're a little nervous, think you're not taking it to the rack hard enough. I mean, mental can be physical affects your mental and vice versa. So I mean, it is
he is struggling, like whenever he doesn't have a certain whenever he doesn't get to the line a certain number of times, he does like kind of struggle, like but he has had good games.
But let me ask you this: would you think it would have been better to maybe sit Harden towards the end? Because this,
Damn.
this is a good point.
That's why I was asking that question.
Yeah,
We're not
Bulls gain
gonna
lead
like
when
that,
Harden
bro.
on the
The
court.
Harden stand's not gonna like that. The Harden
That's
stand-
why
I don't care.
but there was a
Listen.
part
Hey.
where we sat on the bench and we started winning though. That was a fact.
I'm sorry, but Harden
that's
stands
true.
cannot just say, "Oh, well, he had 7 rebounds, 14 assists. He's good." No, like motherfucker shot
Yeah.
5 for 21 tonight, bro. You guys saw that just as much as we did. How many times he
Yeah.
got an open look to the rack, and
Yeah.
you're fucking James Harden, and you were looking like Bruce Brown.
Damn.
Damn.
You were. I mean, that's the best way to explain
Oh yeah,
it.
that's
When
the
you
best
were
way.
taking the ball to the
contact
rack,
finishes.
you looked like Bruce Brown tonight. And I don't understand that. I want Harden to do good because I love Harden. I like Harden a lot. I really liked what he was doing last year for us.
Mhm.
But after that injury, I just haven't seen that same Harden yet. And I'm not blaming it on the injury. I'm just saying, like,
I'm gonna piggyback on what Saint said about
go for it.
saying Harden. And somebody in the chat said Harden should have sat. I mean, Harden should have. His defense on Lonzo was bad because he was giving Lonzo like open looks. So maybe
Yeah,
Harden
that-
was a liability. If we sat, like I said, if Harden sat maybe that last, because he wasn't giving us anything really offensively, and he was being a liability on defense. Maybe like it would have been a different. Maybe Nash should have subbed somebody else in for him. I guess just for the defense at least. You know what I'm saying? So it could at
That
least
was
change
a
something
tough
up.
thing too, because they left that leaving Lonzo open like that too at the end. Like that was
Yeah.
frustrating too. It's like,
Yeah.
how do you leave that dude open right now? Because we got it within 2 before he hit that 3.
Yeah.
So it was a little
Harden
frustrating,
defense
but
Yeah.
Yeah, I would have rather probably put somebody else in, especially he was missing like shots at the end and stuff like that. I'm like, bro, get a ball to KD, man. Like, what you doing?
Yeah.
like, do you think they
Somebody
should
said
have
Harden.
what?
Somebody said Harden needs a DJ or a rolling big, and LA is not it.
It's more than that. I mean,
Yeah, it's more than
yes,
that.
a big, like a good rolling big to the basket that can catch it like a high lob definitely opens his game up more. But yeah,
I mean, that's not like that's like. I mean, that would help, but I feel like that's a really small like chunk of the problem. I don't think he might average more assists and stuff like, but overall scoring wise, that doesn't help like as much as
yeah. And shout out to Here We Go 78. Bruce is the one that left Lonzo open tonight, and that was another reason why I was frustrated too. It's like, motherfucker, you're out there to defend, like, and you dropped your one thing. But hey, support. I keep wanting to say suppository when I see this dude's name, but
Yeah.
but yeah, where are you, Real Royal? Real Royal.
he
awful
in the
quiet tonight.
Discord. Yeah, he not pulling up.
He
He
never shows up
Discord,
on
dude.
his bag, bro. He always does this.
He not, bro. If you a fan of
always does
somebody,
it, bro.
or you gotta pull up when your player like have a. It is what it is, bro. Like pull up, bro.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah, I'm gonna call him. I'm gonna tell him right now he's ducking. Say you ducking.
He always does this, bro. He always does that.
Yeah.
Somebody said Harden's game is limited. He only can do a step back 3 or drive to the basket. It gets locked up when someone can defend him. Sometimes I feel like when Harden has like a wide open 3, sometimes I feel like he can only shoot when he's covered. When somebody like covers.
exactly.
When he's wide open, it's like he can't shoot. It's weird. It's weird.
Like he can't
needs somebody
normally
there
shoot.
to,
Like he needs.
shoot.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like he can't shoot
why is it
regularly.
like
Like
that,
he
yo?
needs to step back to shoot. Like that's
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
the step back, he has that shit down to such a rhythm that it's like I don't know, bro. That is weird. I noticed that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, Real Royal says, "Oh, I'm watching the Devin Haney fight." Yeah, okay, that's a good excuse. But you typing like a
damn.
motherfucker. He's
When is
typing
that?
like crazy. He's typing like crazy in here.
I forgot about that.
Ain't it tomorrow? Oh no, that's the
Oh, yeah.
Tank's fight tomorrow.
Nah, Tank's
Oh, my
tomorrow.
shit.
Tank's tomorrow.
Yeah. So I mean, yeah, that was tough, man. That's the only
Yeah,
thing I
bro.
can keep saying is that it's tough and we should have won this.
Yeah,
game.
like
I
look at my
mean, as-
name,
as-
like, speechless.
as-
Yeah,
as
oh,
long as-
I was gonna say this after AJ said that. It's not even like his crossover is like that explosive anymore either. Like it looks labored and tired. Like there's
Yeah.
a lot of time. Like, have you noticed too? Like tonight, he keeps banging knees with people. That's the second game in a row he's banged the same knee. Like just trying to get his like crossover and go by somebody, and he can't. It's slow.
Yeah, and I wonder why. Like, I wonder. I mean, I don't know. Like, but as long as he's not consistent and not playing at a superstar level, that's we lose unless Kyrie comes back. Like in terms of playoffs, like he has to play like a superstar for us to win. And if he's not, like, that is pretty much it.
This worries me. This worries me for the
It's still
playoffs.
time,
Like,
but still,
we can't have Harden do something like this in the playoffs, man.
yeah, bro.
It's still
Like,
time though. I'm just saying, like in the playoffs, like
still time.
Harden's got to be a consistent bucket, bro. He's got to have a consistent 20 plus in the playoffs, bro. It can't be like this. It can't be like this in the playoffs.
And this is why I'd be saying, like, earlier in the season, like there was this narrative that, oh, he's just being Jason Kidd this season. I hope that, please, I don't ever want to hear that ever again. I don't want to hear that ever again in my life. I don't want to hear that ever again in my life. This is a scoring league, bro. KD, they would say, oh, KD's on the floor, so we don't have to. He doesn't even really need to score. It's like, bro, KD need help, man. KD, he needs help, bro. Like he do. Harden is supposed to be our second scoring option, so you might not have to score as much, and you do have two jobs, right? I mean, you run the offense and score, so of course you're not our first option, but you do have to score, bro. And if we need you to score a good amount, then you gotta, But this is just, bro, like,
I love when this happens, right? Real Royal said, "Same man, we all know he did bad. It's not the end of the world."
I've never heard him say that. Ever heard him admit he played bad. I've never heard it.
Like Real Royal,
Hey, he
of
said
all
that?
people trying to make
Real
light
Royal
of
said
it.
that?
Yeah, well, we all know he did bad. It's not the end of the world. But
I've never heard him say that he did
Yo,
bad.
I've never heard Real Royal say that. Yo. That's crazy.
I promise on my life.
He knows he has no out right here. He knows there's no out.
He's cornered
Bro, I
because
swear to
James told him. James went to the media and was like, "Oh, this loss was on me." That's why Real Roy was like, "Okay, I could."
Yeah, if he didn't say that, he would have been able.
Yeah.
Literally, like after the game, I went on Discord, and the first thing he put in, Harden 14 assists tonight with fire emojis. I'm like,
Nah,
what are we talking about?
I want somebody to love me like Real Royal love Harden. That's all I know. That's all I ever want.
That's real love right there, bro.
That's real love, bro.
That's real
You
love.
can't even hate on that.
Who said that? Who said that?
Real Royal. Like, who else would say that?
Talking about 14 assists, that's fire.
Oh, that's funny, dude. Yeah.
Yeah, but as long as it's Harden is not superstar level, it's just very simple. We lose in the playoffs.
I think we need Mohawk Harden back. I think he needs to shave he needs to shave back the. Yeah, somebody said we need headband Harden back.
He needs to cut like in between games. He needs to. I don't know if he can sprint or do whatever, but he needs to burn some more calories, bro. Because he's still not like he still doesn't look like fit all the way, and I don't understand why. Because he's been playing games, but it's just like he needs to cut some weight. I don't know, drop like 10, 15 pounds immediately because he's still not. I don't know what it is, bro. And it's like we've been playing basketball, so what's happening? Like, why are you not? But he needs to do that ASAP, bro.
It's already starting early, dude. Marcus Messiah, I need treadmill 5 times a day.
Yeah, bro. Like, don't get yourself sore. Like, don't get yourself sore so you can't play the game. But there's exercises that you can do to like cut weight and like he needs to do that.
We need skinny Harden.
Because if you see him side by side to like us, like the Houston days, like he was so much more in shape, bro.
Yeah.
Like that's what we need. His first step would be
somebody
better.
said trade Harden for. Somebody said trade Harden for Gary Payton Jr.
But
That's tough.
this is gonna pick up too, bro. People are gonna start doing this again. Trade Harden for Ben Curry, Danny Green. People are gonna start screaming that too. That's how crazy people are.
I'd rather just have Curry and Danny. I don't even want Ben.
So like,
if we could.
So hold up, I boot out for like 5 seconds, and I see Harden for Simmons.
Yeah, well, it's that trade. Because AJ, we talked about what you had sent that video to me. We talked about that last night, like the what if, like because after like you didn't come on, and yesterday's stream was pretty much all about what ifs, like what if with Kyrie, what if with Harden. So that was talked about, but trade Harden for
Yeah,
Jordan
my
Poole.
opinion on that, like I told you before, saying I'll be pissed if like Harden like decides to leave us. But at the end of the day, like we still have some type of value with Simmons and Maxey. Like they're not trash. Those are still young, really good players. So I know people think Simmons is trash, but he's still 20. Was he 25?
25.
And he still got he still got promise. And I love Tyrese
Mm-hmm.
Maxey. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Tyrese Maxey is going to be
I would want Tobias, bro. You don't think they'll give us Tobias too? Like all together?
We could probably.
But let me throw a question out there. That with Harden, actually, Julian, go on what you're saying. I apologize. Go on what you're saying.
But Tobias is too much. It's the contracts because the contracts don't match up. Tobias is getting paid, I think, too much. The contracts with Ben Simmons and Maxey like fits because Benden's like 33 mil, and Maxey's still like an upcoming star, so he's not getting paid that like a huge amount of money. And I think Harden's contract is like what 45 or 44, whatever he's going to get paid. If he resigns,
well, I mean, so speaking on that, with the fact that if you re-sign Harden, because I keep people saying they're getting a little nervous. Like if say this is the Harden we get all year, right? Like this Harden doesn't change. Good game, not a good game. Good game, not a good game. Like we don't. Let's just say we don't get the Harden we expect. Are you comfortable with giving the man almost a $60 million contract?
Oof,
because that's like what we were kind of talking about it earlier, where it's like when you have this like 3-team super team and these dudes are now starting to make an upward of 40 plus into 50 into 60, at what point does it become like a detriment to the team and actually putting together like a good team? Like I understand, yeah, it's great having Kyrie, it's great having KD, it's great having Harden, but when these dudes are making well over $40 million a year and you're telling me that that's not going to affect the rest of what you put on the floor, it makes me wonder, is having, why can't you just run with two superstars and then go really all in on some really good pieces to put around you, build a solid team, opposed to like saying, no, I need all 3 superstars, and then I'll just go with $2.6 million deals for everybody else, right? You know what I mean? Like that, it's a little you have to ask yourself, how do you want to build this team, especially if you're trying to win?
You saying trade Kyrie?
No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, hey, bro.
No, it's okay if you are.
Just asking. No. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying we have the option to have 3 superstars. And for whatever reason, going to back year, whether it's injury, now it's Kyrie and COVID, it's Harden goes through his thing. It's like the basketball gods don't want us to have all 3 of these individuals on the same team, like for a season for some reason. Like at some point, I'm just kind of like, fuck, well, if it keeps going like that, maybe you move on from trying to make the big 3 work and just work with big 2.
Did you ask?
And then put a bunch of good players around them, because now you'll have all this extra money to invest in your team that it makes it damn near unbeatable as well. I mean, because I'm sorry, even if you had KD and Harden, right? And then you didn't have Kyrie's contract and you took that 30 some odd millions and you went and spread it around your team and got really good players to put around them, you're golden. Or if it was just KD and Kyrie and you didn't re-sign Harden, you took that 40, 50 million and said, no, I'm going to go invest in a good power forward and a good center and this and that. I don't know. Sometimes I do question the 3-team, like the 3 superstar thing.
That's what I was, bro.
In theory, it sounds great, but
before, and I think that now it was probably like maybe a blessing in disguise because Kyrie's not here, so I am glad that we have Harden. But like before, I feel like our team was perfect. But you asked, like, should we give him the max if he's still playing like this at the end of the season? That's what you said first, right?
I mean, you got 2 questions. I mean, I know there's some people that will say automatically, like, yes, you give Harden the max. Yes, you give Kyrie the max. Well, right now I see 2 question marks on our team. Like, if Harden plays like this and doesn't, kind of get, good game, bad game, good game, bad game, and doesn't really get to where we all once remember seeing him, yeah, I question investing $60 million a year on him. And then same thing with Kyrie. You still don't know what you're getting yet. Like, are you still comfortable? Some people are outright coming. Chat, let me know. Are you guys comfortable with investing
No,
massive
definitely
amounts
not.
of money in people that you're not getting?
Definitely
And
not
I'm not trying
Kyrie
to
right
be
now.
like it's not a hater. I'm just trying to be realistic.
No,
Of
it's a
like,
real question.
Nah,
Definitely,
this is a
Kyrie's not
genuine
even
debate,
in talks right now. I mean, if he got the vaccine, then yeah, and there's no other problems that could arise that would sideline him for the season, or that would force him to take time off. Then yeah, I think I would give it to him. But Harden, yeah, we would have to wait till the end of the playoffs. But it just scares me because, and we talked about it last year, and Chubbs did remind me that he said that he wasn't able to like train or whatever in the off season, but the off season before, like he came in this shit like really out of shape, and he's kind of been doing that more and more each year. But the problem is like I don't want him to do that anymore, and the reason is because I think possibly there isn't a coincidence why he came in the worst shape of his life and got injured, because the most injuries are in basketball, right? When you are not in full shape, especially for a guard, you have a higher chance of getting
are you
hurt.
saying that about him last year?
Yeah, last year.
I mean, I do think part of that though is we did ask him quite a lot to do though. I think
But
there
I'm
was
saying
more
that
of
there's
that
a
as
no.
well.
I'm not saying like only the gods really know. So I'm not like straight putting it on him. But I'm saying it. There's a good chance that it played a part. He's never been injured before, right? So I just think it could have played a part. And I think like if that were the case, then we lost because of that. And so if I would really like to see him after this, I'll give him, as far as this offseason, because of what he said, I'll give him a pass. But I really need to see that change before like giving him a max, because if you're just going to keep doing that, and you might get hurt again, and that's kind of a big thing for me. Like that could have really had serious repercussions. I mean, and the reason he's hurt right now is because of that the reason that he's not hurt right now, but the reason he's probably not at 100 is because of what happened in that regular season. So
Yeah.
I mean, let's see. I wish I could put up a poll to ask like what people think is wrong with Harden. Maybe just put in the chat, is it mental? Is it conditioning? Is it like somebody put in there, he's 32, it's catching up to him? Is it age?
Yeah.
You know
that's
what I'm
young
saying?
though.
Like, I know, but it, as a basketball player,
I mean,
though, you 32, you've put some, if you've been in the league in a while, you put some, 32, you've put some
It really
miles
depends
on
on how
you,
your
32, how you've played.
it depends on how your game. I was gonna say it depends on how your game ages. Like
Yeah.
with people who are efficient,
Very aggressive.
good shooters, your game is gonna age well. Like KD's game is gonna age well because he's an efficient, good shooter. LaMarcus, a really good shooter efficiently. Like, you know what I'm saying? Steph
Yeah.
Curry, those guys can play until 34, 38, 30 and still look the same because they're like, good shooters, and their game is based on, efficiency and good shooting. But with Harden, a lot of his game is that first step.
Very
that first
aggressive
step
first,
and
exactly.
getting to the rim. And I want to shout out here we go 78. He was like early in Harden's career, he was really he was off the ball kind of guy at first. When he first came into the league on OKC, he was really good off the ball. Like he was an off the ball guard. I'm talking about coming off screen, shooting, catch and shoot threes. But like here we go said, Mike D'Antoni changed Harden's game once he got to Houston. So Harden became more ball dominant and more like having the ball in his hands 24/7. But now that muscle memory kind of stuck with Harden. Now it's like he can't play off the ball like that no more. It's just he's like stuck.
Yeah,
so it's weird.
he's stuck, bro. Like, and that's a like if he was able to do that, I feel like that in itself would help us a lot. But
Well,
yeah,
and to
I think
be
Mike
fair,
D'Antoni fucked him up. You good?
To be slightly fair with Harden, though, I think fans and the team have asked him to be different Hardens in comparison to last year as well. Because when he got here and everybody was down, Harden was carrying, doing everything, right? And then when we had the option of having all three of those guys, even KD, even Harden and Kyrie, where Kyrie was like, you're the point guard, I'm the shooting guard. So he took on a completely different role, and we didn't mind because Harden was hooking KD up, hooking Kyrie up. It was a different thing. And
Yeah.
now you fast forward to this year, no Kyrie, and we're not okay with just the 14 assists and the 7-8 rebounds, almost 10. Now we want him to score 30 plus a night. So I do see differences in there, which I can understand why he's like, sometimes I have trouble deciding whether to score or pass, because his game he's been asked to do different things since he got here in comparison to when he was with Houston. That is for a fact.
I just think about
So there is that
games,
to it as well.
The certain games. My thing about that is that is true, But I just look at the games that he played with Kyrie and KD, and then I think when KD was not injured, it just looked kind of seamless for him. Like he just immediately kind of adjusted to when KD came back. And whenever somebody would fall out the lineup, he would kind of just immediately adjust to that too. So I just think about the games he played. Like his first game he played with KD, like he was on point. Him and Harden were like, I think they had the most wins or some shit like that. Like they went on a run, So it's like, I don't know. Like I just feel like, bro, why can't you just shoot more? Maybe it's not that simple. Like on the outside looking in, it's like, bro, why it seems like you just need to shoot more. Like, and I saw you do it last year, so I don't understand. But I mean, I could be wrong about it, but
somebody, Leo Francisco, said Trae Young and Luka Doncic are doing what we want Harden to be. Well, yeah, I get that, but they're also extremely a lot younger than Harden and are much quicker than Harden at this point. So I get that, but I mean, I've seen so many different things in this chat of why and what Harden needs to do.
Yeah, it is true.
If we're being honest, he just needs to get his head out of his ass. Like
that's why I went to mental, bro. I mean, honestly,
like he had 21 shots.
I'm not about to cry, bro.
Had 14 assists, no turnovers, and only made 5 of those 21 shots. I don't know what else. Like
that's true. I mean, we're not even acknowledging we only had 5 fucking. Excuse my language. I know there's a guy that watches the stream and he watches it when he hangs out with his kids, and he got mad at me and Chubbs last night for swearing too much. So I'll try to.
Who?
I won't say.
He did?
But he was like, he left a message on our last stream saying, "Hey AJ, I love your stuff," and blah blah blah. He's like, "But you got to talk to Chubbs and say they swear too much. I try to watch this with my kids." Okay. He's like, that's why he loves our stream, because we're not like, if you do listen to some of these other streams, it is we are very controlled and tame compared to some of these other streams. But yeah,
I used to curse too though, but it's just that I learned I had to stop because YouTube is YouTube is coming for people who do that now. So it's like now I gotta like chill. Like that's why I stopped it.
Yeah, I agree here. I don't want to keep harping on the Harden thing. I think tonight was frustrating the most. To me, yeah, this is one of those games where it's like when the team does everything right in other areas that it's supposed to, 5 turnovers, people were hustling. The only other negative to me was really the call of Bruce Brown. Bruce Brown should not have been there in the end, in my opinion. Maybe you could have made the argument. I mean, people are saying sit Harden. No, I mean, who knows? But I don't want to just make this the James. Obviously, the biggest thing is James Harden. I think if James Harden makes half of the shots that he missed, we win this game, even if Bruce Brown is in there. But I did want to give some people the opportunity that have said like, hey, I figure, because we didn't want to make this a super long stream. I want to give some people the opportunity to come up and like kind of cook up. So if you want to come on and say something, try to keep it, a couple minutes, try to keep it clean. Just kind of give your thoughts on the game, and we'll take a couple callers and we'll kind of move out of here and, regroup for the Mavericks game. So I'm going to bring up one person now, but again, if you are on Twitter, yeah, that's we'll talk about that after we take a couple calls. if you want to follow here, I'll do a couple little announcements. If you want to follow AJ at Nets Kingdom, AJ on Twitter, or me at Saint Net1. If you want to follow AJ on Instagram, it's at Nets Kingdom 711. We do have some Nets merchandise that AJ's putting out. I'm trying to push AJ to put the shirt that I want out, so I'm gonna keep telling him that until he does it. If you want this fire ass hoodie right here, I want a shirt with just this on it right here. I have this hoodie. I love it. It's comfortable. We also got this shirt. Also got a sweatshirt for y'all. That's the main logo that AJ uses. But check it out at bknetskingdom.org. I've been seeing people post some pictures and especially copping this hoodie. This hoodie's fire. So
I'm copping one after the stream. So
yeah,
I gotta get one.
Check it out. Get it in for Christmas. They actually, I'm all the way out here in California, and they got my my shipment out quick and got it. So check that out. Yeah. So
also, the Discord ain't Discord.
Oh yeah. I can't post it, but I've noticed that Isaac and Age, if you pay attention to the chat in YouTube here, Age and Isaac have been posting the Discord link. So if they do that again, that would be nice. You guys can join up there. We have some fun, colorful conversations in there. I think KD7, that's in Discord. I just sent you the link to join up. If you want to hit me up on Twitter, DM me on Twitter or DM me in Discord. If you want to come on and have a conversation and just cook up, I'm going to send one to Daniel. I don't know if he's going to show up. He's got that England across the seas internet. I don't know how well that's going to work tonight.
UK, big up the UK.
Yeah, shout out to the international viewers. Yeah.
Hey, here we go. I'm telling you how you can get in the chat. You got to hit me up on Discord. If you're in our Discord, you can hit me up on Twitter. Got to follow that Discord link to get in there. But yeah, so with that out of the way,
Who coming up first?
Where do we go from here?
Yeah, I think we start here. I think this is where we start, bro. I think we need to start every day putting that out. Wake up in the morning.
Kyrie, but we need
Every morning that needs to go out. Every night need to do some
Kyrie Harden being
signals,
boo, bro. Come save us.
some Kyrie smoke signals, and then at night you got to put this out like every night, like every city.
I wish we could get Jay up here, man. Jay need to come up here and make me feel better, bro. Like,
yeah, let me see if I can get. Let me check on Jay from Brooklyn here real quick. I don't know if they're still in.
My man Kyrie was averaging 28, 52, 55, 40, 93. That's crazy, bro. And he can move off the ball. Man, that sucks, bro.
I'm gonna send him a message, see if I can somehow wrangle him away from his.
Yeah, because I'm in depression mode. Like, I'm in depression mode after this game.
He said, "I need Jay to come up here and make me feel better." That's crazy. That's crazy.
Oh man.
Damn, bro. Harden don't need a 3-point, just a mid-range. He need both.
Mm-hmm. Nah, he needs a solidified mid-range now, and I think he has it because we've seen him hit it before. But
I keep trying to tell. He's so open from that, bro. It's like it's aggravating. You know, every time I see it, it makes me upset. I'm like, bro, if you don't shoot that shit, the fuck is wrong with you, bro?
All right, this is KD. He goes by KD7 in our Discord. I think this is his first time up here. KD, if you're trying to speak, you gotta unmute yourself. You do have a mute button.
Yes, sir.
Welcome to
look at his name. He face palming.
You saw it. Did you see the thumbnail that I used for?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Like, I'm sorry, but this was I was looking for a thumbnail for the game, and this is all I could think about. Like, that's it right there. KD, you there? You gotta unmute yourself. Okay, what up, dude? Welcome to the kingdom, dude.
Right, bro.
How are you
What's
feeling?
up, y'all? Man. Man. Frustrating. Because in the beginning of the game, we looked at good. I'm thinking we can just come off, get the back-to-back wins, and just get ready for the Dallas. But hey, y'all really cover everything. I ain't got too much to speak about. Just hopefully we can regroup for the Dallas game.
How you feel about Harden?
Don't be
Yeah.
nice. Just tell
That
you how
silence
it. Tell
is
it.
crazy.
Just say it
Yeah,
how you feel.
don't-
Just don't. You
That
don't have
silence is
to.
crazy.
Just,
You don't
look,
have to destroy
speechless,
the
bruh.
man, but you can at
Speechless,
least
bro.
be honest about
But-
how you feel.
Um,
Like, look at my
think-
name. Look at my name on here. Speechless, bro. What can we really say anymore? What can we
hurt.
really
I
say
think-
anymore?
Okay, you said you're not making me feel
Yeah,
better
he-
with this, man. You're making me feel more depressed.
I just don't know about the max contract right now. I just got to see more.
That's crazy.
I'm with you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's looking tough on the contract.
That's too much money. We can go be paying him for him just to keep.
So y'all will be okay if Harden left though. Like let's say Harden at the end of the season we lost second round, and Harden was like, "Yo,
If
I'm
he was
out."
playing like this,
But yeah.
if he was playing like this, maybe it depends. It depends, though. It depends.
I know people don't like when I say these kind of things, but I'm a Nets fan first. I'm not a Kyrie stan. I'm not a KD stan. I'm not a Harden stan. The difference I will give KD over those two is KD is that man. He is the truth. He is the one. Day in, day out, the man shows up. He breathes basketball. You can tell it's like one of the most important things to him. He loves playing, and you can tell he's given it all to this team. Now, I don't know if I can fully say that about Kyrie, but I definitely think Harden is giving his, like, Kyrie, Harden loves to play basketball, and he wants to win, and he wants to do good. So I don't want to hate on him on there, but I am not opposed that if you think just of letting somebody go if they're not going to live up to a $40 to $60 million contract, especially in the beginning of their 30s to mid to late 30s, because I'm sorry, whether it's baseball, football, basketball, when dudes start getting into their mid 30s and they have those 30 to 40, $50 million contracts, they don't age well. So I'm not saying to let them go at this moment, but I'm just saying I would much rather build around what we have and utilize the ridiculous amount of money in better ways sometimes. Now, I'm not going to go there quite yet with Harden and say don't resign him, because I'm still going to hold. If I can hold hope for James Johnson and Paul Millsap, then I can hold hope for James Harden, right? Like, let's be honest.
We can hold hope with
if
that.
I can hold hope that somebody like Bembry I didn't know anything about and is now kicking ass, James Johnson I didn't know anything about and quite honestly wasn't sure, because for the first 5-6 games, the man was just running up and down the court, and that was it. And we're all like, what's James Johnson doing? And everybody's like, he's just working out, and things have changed. So I'm not there yet, right? I'm not there yet. If I can have hope for those players to turn it around and give good minutes and affect this team in a very positive way, why can't I do that for Harden? Are we trying to say that these guys are better than Harden then? Are we saying that Harden doesn't have that same ability at 32 with much better skill sets than Bembry and James Johnson, or Millsap for that matter at 36, that he can't get better? I guess that's my question, to throw the opposite side of all this. Are we ready to just go all like in on Harden? Like I saw earlier, you're like, yeah, trade him, get rid of him, do this. Like,
nah.
Oh no, I'm not saying do all that. No.
I know.
I'm just
People
saying,
are though. People are in the beginning. People are like, trade him. He's washed. He's this.
Oh
he's
yeah,
that. I'm not ready to go there. Yeah.
But it is time to like Harden, you need to tighten up type of thing. I mean, I was the one who said, once we get through a quarter of the way of the season, then we can start really like you know, putting out like a progress report, you know, like the report card for the first quarter of the year. And his first quarter report card is looking tough, you know. So we not finna give up on him yet, but it's like, you know, Harden, like you got to do better. You know, you got to do better next year. You know, take away
If he
his honey
plays,
buns, take away his
yeah,
Oh
refrigerator.
God, oh God.
You
if
know,
he plays like this
and then
during the playoffs,
Did you
oh
say
my
take
God.
his refrigerator away?
take his refrigerator, yeah, and then
I just
after
caught
your
that.
second
I'm like, what
after
did you
your
say?
your
Take his
after your second
refrigerator.
report card, then you can have it back if you're doing good. But your first
Nah,
report
nah.
card, you know,
You got to do it one by one. If he does good second quarter, give the refrigerator back. Keeps
okay, all
going, then it's just one by one.
right,
Nah,
yeah,
don't,
you're right. No,
can't
you're right.
spoil
No,
him
that's
too.
facts. That's facts.
Yeah.
If he plays like this during
Yeah.
the playoffs, Nets Nation's gonna be on him. Like
Oh
Joe
my
Harris. Remember how
God.
they were on Joe Harris? They're gonna
Yeah.
be on him just the same way.
Isn't it funny that
Ooh,
people are mad? Like, think about this, right? Like, remember the hate you had for that man, Joe Harris? And it's like now there's
Yeah.
the same people are like they want Joe Harris back.
They want Joe Harris
Yeah.
back. Yeah, that's how it be with these people.
Hey, I'm trying to tell you that's why. Like, I remember, I think what was the 5th game of the season when he had like 19 free throws. Like, I wasn't trying to pick on him, bro. But I said that game, I was like, bro, like he not gonna get nowhere near this. He's only had 2 games where he's had this season where he's had above 12 free throws. But that's what I'm scared for in the playoffs is I don't think they're gonna blow the whistle, bro. I think he's gonna get to the line like twice a game on average.
oh
And so
God.
that's why I'm looking for him to score with or without the free throws. And he's been having some like his last 35-pointer against the Knicks. That was good, you know, like only 10, but I'm genuinely scared about that, bro. Cause they
Well, let
don't
me
call
ask-
they don't call that shit in the playoffs, bro. They really don't. Like
Well, we already
they'll
know. Listen, we already know the refs are shitty across the board this year. Excuse the
Mhm.
language, but they are. I do have this question because as I keep seeing the D'Antoni pop up, E King just said it's the coaching. I don't know that you can necessarily. I agree, maybe utilizing offensive schemes a little bit with him better, but at the same time, though, like when a player can't make a layup, that's not the coach's fault. Like when the player has an open look to the basket
Right.
multiple times in a game, that is not the coach's fault.
Yeah.
It's just it's not. Do you know what I'm saying? Like it's not. I mean, not everything can be Nash's fault. Like because I do believe Nash has made strides as much as people don't like him and wish we had a different coach. And I think that sometimes too. Nash has made better strides this year than he did last year.
Mhm.
And not
I'll
everything is
agree.
not everything is the coach's fault. That is, when players are missing layups, players are not taking care of their health. Sometimes, yeah, they can show up for practice and do what Nash wants and the team staffing wants, but at the same token, it's like there's some player responsibility. It's like that's the other thing that I think newer generation and like newer leagues is. It's like at least Harden. I wish I could play the interview, took full responsibility for tonight and said tonight's loss is on me. Right. So there is that, but it just, I think in today's game, when people are making the amount of money that they're making and they're superstars, it just comes with a hell of a heavier hit of like expectations of what they should be doing. So, I mean, I don't know. I don't think it's coaching, man. I mean, unless you guys think of something else. Does anybody else?
No, I don't think it's coaching either.
In
Well,
my
with Harden,
opinion,
I don't think it's coaching. No, it's not.
in my opinion, the only problem I have with coaching is our offensive schemes, which I never thought I'd say with this team. Like literally, it's literally like what we did in the playoffs when we only had KD. It was just, you know what, give the ball to KD and get out the way. And that's not how you run a championship winning team in my opinion.
And we, especially with all the weapons that we have. Go ahead.
No, I just don't like the person running our offense, and I don't like our offensive schemes at all.
Hey, real quick, KD7, you got anything else you want to say, or you want to? KD7.
No, I'm just
depressed.
it's frustrating, man, because we can do better. Like good as our team is, we just can do better.
Yeah. Is this you right now? Are you
Can't
like
put
this
any
right
other
now? Are you at home like this on the couch
Yo, I'm crying.
with a cold? Is it cold back east right now? Are you cuddling?
bro.
Man.
I'm just playing. I'm playing.
Nah, but
Y'all
well, say
street.
what
What's
you were
that,
saying
AJ?
about with coaching. With coaching, I don't think it's like you can't really with superstars. You just gotta let them like rock. You can't really coaching doesn't really like, you know what I'm saying? Like, what's Steve Nash gonna do if Harden's missing layups? You know, it's like you have to play him.
Right.
Yeah.
It's,
I mean, obviously,
So it's
yes,
like-
you could blame him for the Bruce Brown. Like, you shouldn't have had Bruce Brown,
yeah.
you know.
Yeah, there's other mistakes the coaches are making. I'm just saying, pertaining to Harden, it's not coaching. What's going on with Harden? Like, it's not coaching.
Yeah, a big part of that is him. Yeah, it sucks, bro. Superstars don't get coached no more in these days unless we have like especially Steve Nash.
Exactly.
Steve Nash not built like that. Like he I'm not saying like in real life he's not an alpha, but like he coaches like a beta. Like if that makes sense. Like
Did
he
you just say
coaches
like a beta?
That's a fact.
yeah, he coaches like a beta. Yeah, because he's
A
not
beta.
willing to like put his foot down. I'm not saying that he is as a man a beta. I'm just saying he coaches
Soft.
like one. He's like,
Soft coach.
yeah,
Say it, bro.
he's
Say it,
not
bro.
willing to
Soft.
like put his foot down and be like, bro, like this and that, like a Greg Popovich or
Yeah.
like a Tom Thibodeau. Like,
Yeah, he's a soft coach. He's gotta, yeah.
I saw
I thought I was
a
the
lot
only
of
one that think that about it.
a lot of shit people asking for Tyronn Lue as a coach. I saw
Yeah.
that today.
Y'all want Ty Lue?
No, no. I saw something at one point. Kyrie wanted Tyronn Lue.
yeah,
To be the
he's
coach?
not a bad
Oh,
coach.
Yeah.
He
I
would
think
he's
Ty Lue's
not.
a good coach.
Yeah, he's not soft like I mean if you know like at halftime of Game 7 in 2016, like he came in there and looked at LeBron and was like, bro, I need more from you. I need more. And they actually started arguing because Bron wasn't really that like efficient in that game. If you look at his percentage and Kyrie was very efficient. But yeah, they got into an argument at halftime because he told, LeBron. So at bare minimum, like he not soft. Like he'll let somebody know, like, bro, like
Well, he does.
me,
Yeah,
I-
like he does. Like he knows when to do certain things. I will.
Yeah.
Like I used to kind of cap on Tyronn Lue a little bit. Like
Yeah, me
Me
too.
too.
Me
crap
too.
on him. But then the more I watched him, it was like he did have that ability to talk to these players, and even if they were superstars, like he knew how to handle it. But at the
Yeah.
same time, he wasn't calling a crappy game either, though.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like he knew the right amount of
And
level
Ty
to
Lue-
like.
I was gonna say Ty Lue proved to me that he's a good coach after I think it was last season. Remember when Kawhi went down? Everybody thought it was
Right.
and he like rallied that team and he made really good like coaching adjustments, coach moves, and they got to the Western Conference Finals like with just Paul George and Reggie
Yeah.
Jackson. So I'm like,
Hey,
he did
sorry.
like show me.
Sorry to interrupt here, but hey, KD, I'm gonna let you go, bro. I appreciate you pulling up. Definitely, we
All right,
hopefully
bro.
will have it. But I have a very so KD, thanks for coming on, brother.
All right,
All right,
thank
bro.
y'all. Sure.
All right,
Yes,
man.
sir.
Yeah, bro.
Late. I have a very special guest coming up who I've been trying to get on here. This is also shout out to the Australian world. I know Cakes Boo's going to appreciate this. I've been trying to get this man to come up, and he answered the call tonight. So I want you all to welcome Jack Manuel.
Howdy, guys. Thanks for
Jack
coming on.
Manuel
I think his man will.
is a co-host of the
Australia,
Brooklyn
stand up.
Buzz podcast. This is I had to bring Australia in here
Holy,
because we have people like one of our moderators, Cakes Boo. Shout out to her. She's Australian. She's always talking up Patty, and I know Patty's been the man lately. And you've been on my mind lately. I'm just like wanting to talk to you. I know today was frustrating, but I've wanted you to come up to just kind of big up Australia, big up like Patty Mills, like, and just talk about it, bro. But welcome to the kingdom, dude.
Oh, thanks for having me on, mate. I've been loving what you guys have been doing for a very, very long time. I think that the YouTube stuff is a real platform that I think is underutilized by NetSword, and you guys absolutely smash it. And whenever I actually am able to and I'm not working, I'm always watching. I'm always seeing what's popping in the chat and stuff. And you guys killing it on Twitter. Everyone here. it's an honor to be here. You know, I literally just finished recording the Buzz, and I went to, you know, just put my laptop away, and I saw the DMs, and I'm like, yeah, why not? Let's jump on, let's chat some Nets, and it's an honor to be here, guys. Like, thanks for having me. And Patty Mills has been great. You know, he made it. I said on the Buzz today, I'm like, I'll point out the one criticism for him once about the lack of a pass, which I think Katie was probably more frustrated at than I was, and then we move on from that. But other than that, his leadership and the responsibility that he's taken on in the absence of Joe of late has been probably the thing that I've noticed the most. And I think he's been able to, not to get all holistic and stuff about it, but he's been able to express himself in a way that I think was somewhat limiting in previous iterations. Stephen Killer Cam has been awesome as well. But I think that's one thing that this is a closer iteration of Patty Mills than what we saw at the Olympics and Boomers Patty Mills. And, you know, he won a goddamn award. You know, I think the Yes Network was shouting him out today, which was incredible to see. But yeah, it's just a seamless fit. And it's been awesome to see, you know, one of my, not just sporting idols, but idols in general, what he does for the Australian community, Indigenous community, how he represents himself, his family, and his culture is something that I'm incredibly proud of to be aligned to as a guy from the same country as him. So they're a little bit frustrating, but being able to chat about Nets with my guy Nick and chat Nets with the Kingdom is something that has leveled me out a little bit. I was a little bit reactionary. I always throw out some sort of meme, which seems to stir up some people every now and then, but being able to just chat Nets with cool people and knowledgeable people at that as well just gets me out of my feels a little bit.
I just want to say, Jack, you got the best tweets. Like the Nets reactions on Twitter that Jack puts up, yo. Those are the hilarious tweets. You guys, make sure you guys follow him on Twitter because
let me shout out Jack's Twitter real quick. It's at Jack Manuel, just like his name is spelt there. Just put at Jack Manuel on Twitter. Like I said, he's also co-host of the Brooklyn Buzz podcast. It's good. I like Jack because Jack will because I'm the kind of person where I find like in Nets, like the Nets media world, Twitter world, like people that have shows, it's like some people like they don't want to go in on some topics. They don't want to talk about Kyrie. They don't want to get a little frustrated. They don't really show their, you know, like true emotions sometimes. But that's something I appreciate with you, that like whether it's an overreaction or not, and you'll say it, you still express it and you talk about it, because I know that there's a lot of people that are frustrated about certain scenarios, and you're like, and you're frustrated, and it's like, but you're not afraid to show it. And I like that. Like I really appreciate that. Oh, this is our Cakespoo is our resident Australian. She's like, who is this Aussie? So I brought him up for you, Cakes. Jack Manuel has a podcast. He's an Aussie. He throws it down for Australia. So I've been kind of wanting to, we get a lot of people on this show that are international, and we support it. So, I mean, tonight, like Patty was great, man. But the only thing that was like the like, I don't know if you saw it, like this was like our thumbnail for the stream was that, right? Like, that's how this game like was for me at the end. But the moment for Patty today was when he had that wide open three, like Katie passed it to him, and there was like nobody there for 15 feet, and you're like, yes, another Patty three, and then he held it, and I was like, oh, what did you do? Like, but it was still like Patty I had a good game, man. Like I said it earlier, everybody did what they were supposed to tonight, except James and his scoring. And I really feel like the only complaint that I had other than that was like Bruce Brown, just like Nash putting in Bruce Brown in the fourth. Like I felt like, why the hell was Bembry not in there closing it out? Like I felt there was way too much Bruce Brown in this game. Like what was your thoughts like on that tonight? Like the game and what you saw? Because I thought it was a great game up until the fourth.
I thought the process was the number one thing that I was most impressed about. You know, James was missing a lot of shots, and he said himself in the post game to, I think, like Chris Mulholland and a heap of other people, that's in general, I'm just like, okay, he's got the right mentality here, and the fact that they're missing a little bit, he blew by Alonzo Ball once or twice, which I was positive about. And again, it's not like you're blown by Alex Caruso, and I think that was probably, you know, somewhat beneficial as well. And Bruce Brown just missing some bunnies. I think that offense is now the fact that we're not as spaced out as we were. You know, we're not 4-5 out anymore. Bruce just doesn't have that space to have the composure to hit the floater or finish just easy layups. Whereas now a lot of the shots that he's taken are contested, and it makes it so much harder for him. And he's still got that big time bucket where he got the and one play or the and one opportunity, should I say. And he missed the free throw, which was a little bit frustrating. It's just that there were so many of those frustrating moments throughout the night. It's just like the process and the mentality and all the things behind the scenes are right. You're trying to be aggressive. The ball movement was pretty good, and the role players were stepping up. Paul Millsap was good. Cam Thomas was hitting the weirdest floater that I've ever seen in my goddamn life. And it's just like, man.
That was a weird floater. That was a weird floater.
Like, how do you physically? How do you do that where you're going up off your opposite foot and then hitting it with your opposite hand? I'm just like, I've never seen that before.
That
he does seem to be really. If you go back to the summer league, though, he does seem to be really good at those one-legged shots. So I think it's one of those things I think we're gonna just continue to see from him. We're gonna see those like random. Like, how did he make that shot? But to him, probably is extremely comfortable. But yeah, it was beautiful. I mean, you said it right. I mean, everybody did what they were supposed to tonight. And I think that's the thing that was so frustrating about this win was like, my last tweet was like, no excuses. We should have won this game because everybody came. We had a different lineup than the last time we played them. You can definitely tell our cohesiveness is better in a team. Even if somebody wasn't playing 100% perfect, we did what we've asked everybody on this team to do. If you want to call it the hard hat crew, the next man up, like everybody's been doing that. It just was these two little things. And, I don't want to call it a panic, but it is getting a little frustrating that we're not beating the teams that we all want to beat. I do keep hearing that narrative like, oh, don't worry, it's only 20 something but at the same time, I'm kind of like, it should be a little concerning that we are struggling a little bit against these good teams and not being able to close out or getting really punched in our face. I mean, do you think there's anything there to that, Jack? Like, does that bother you at all a little bit? Or do you think it's, hey, way too soon, no big deal? Like,
I think that like with everything, there's always some answer in the middle. Now, it's almost like the opposite of last year where the Nets were beating the good teams and playing down to their competition in a lot of respects. And that those Cleveland games come to mind and other performances and stuff where they would just ball out and the big three would just do their thing and Kai would have a massive game. I think his absence is something that I think he's just a big time player. He gets himself up for those games, whereas James Harden, just by nature, at least this is what I've sort of how I perceive him. He normally gets himself going against some of those lesser teams. The game against the Knicks. I'm not saying the Knicks are a lesser team, but I think that ultimately. It's still the Nets are still figuring themselves out because this is the identity of the team is completely different to what it was last year, rightly or wrongly. It's just the way that the roster is constructed. There's a lot more big man and defense on this team. DeAndre Bembry, Paul Millsap, James Johnson. The difference between like a Jeff Green and a Tyler Johnson, those sort of guys. Those guys are more offensively predicated guys, and that's the reason why they weren't amazing. The big reason why the Nets were so all-worldly offensively was because of Kyrie Irving and you have Joe Harris who's out as well. I just think that they're working out a few kinks. I think the most important thing is I think we all probably have some semblance of agreement on this is that James Harden, if James Harden can be a top 5, top 10 NBA player like we know he is, then I think all the other problems sort themselves out. The Nets have been a really good defensive team, which I don't think any of us really expected to happen. Top 10 in that sort of department. And the offense is where I probably have the most concern because they were the best offense of all time. And, that Boston Celtics series, one of the best offensive ratings in a playoff series ever, if I'm not mistaken. That's where it's just like, okay, is that a product of the team itself right now? Is it a product of the absences? Is it a bit from column A, from column B? I don't know what you guys think, where it's just like, all right, Kyrie and Joe, throw those guys back in and everything's going to be fine. But is Kyrie going to be back? Is Joe going to? Joe always takes a couple of weeks to get himself going, coming off an injury. Are the problems solvable? I guess is the question.
That's a good question. I'll let somebody else hop in here, and I'll come back to that because we kind of had a conversation like that yesterday about, I'll come back to it because I have another good question for you in that realm. But I'll let like AJ and them take it away for a minute here.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask Jack. That's a good point because I do feel like we're still getting stuff together with our team. But I wanted to ask Jack this about because the chat tonight kind of went toxic on James Harden, and we're trying to figure out. Do you think with Harden is it something mental that's going on with him struggling to score, like struggling to be consistent, or do you think it's just him trying to get adjusted to things? What's your take on James Harden? This game and just in the season so far.
Overall, I do think it's mental, AJ. I think that a lot of it is just general confidence in his own body. That's where I sort of I've said on the buzz of late, because it's not that he's forgotten how to dribble the basketball, score the basketball, get to the line, shoot step back threes.
Yeah.
It's just that the way he's shooting them in comparison to seasons past, whether it's last year, the year before in Houston or whatever, you can just see the handle isn't as crispy. He's not blowing by guys as much. He flashed I think with Derek Jones tonight, and you could probably, but I still think that there's a lot of things where they always say, sports like 90% mental, 10% physical. And he sort of said, he coming off the injury isn't an issue, or whatever. Yeah, the injury might not be an issue, but James, and I said this actually on the buzz, it'll be coming out soon, that his number one skill that I think gets underrated so much is his durability. Like, he plays 75, 8 to 82 games for the past 5 or so seasons, and now he's had some muscle injuries to deal with. He injured the hamstring twice, 3 times. You have to deal through that. You're now going from being, okay, my body's totally fine, I can chill in the off season, do all this sort of thing, to now, okay, I have to rehab. I can't get in the reps. I can't do the things behind the scenes. Yeah, the Instagram post will say a different thing, but we know that he's recovering from a hamstring injury. We saw, the video of when he's speaking to those high schoolers, I think it was. So I think a large portion of it is the mental capacity of it. And I think the past 9 games, discluding tonight's game, he's been shooting like 25% from 3, I think a little bit less, and less than 40% from the field. But he's also conversely, he's averaging 10 plus free throw attempts during that time and shooting 92% from the line. So there's areas where it's just like, okay, James Harden's he does so many great things, and he does some. There hasn't been really a game this year where it's all been together. Like the early parts of the season, it's just like, okay, the 3 ball's fallen. Now he's taking some catch and shoots. And then now lately he's starting to get to the line a little bit more and starting to draw contact. Whereas it hasn't all come together. So I think the optimist and the glass half full approach is that, okay, he's done all of these things. He hasn't done them all together. So it's not that he forgot how to shoot a step back 3. He's forgotten how to get to the line, or he's taken some freaking mid ranges here and there. I think the floater is one thing that I'm not seeing a lot of, but I think that part of that is a product of not having Clax fit and healthy, and that lob threat, the sort of ability to sort of attack there. So I think it's just he's set such a high standard and such a high bar for himself. And I love that post game. He was taking, all accountability, saying, this one's on me. I missed a few bunnies here and there. And then KD comes back and says, it was on me. I should have hit a few more shots as well. So I love the accountability and leadership of our guys. But it's a large portion of it is mental, because he's still James Harden. He's not, a new version. He hasn't fallen off a cliff. But you can tell, his conditioning isn't there. Yeah. And I don't think he just has the trust in his own body. When you're coming off injuries that you've never experienced before, reacclimating to yourself and having that trust in your own body. Kevin Durant had 2 years to do it nearly. And he's been able to just go, okay, I can do all the things behind the scenes, take that extra time. Kyrie's not back in and come into the season. The leadership and responsibility on James Harden is always at a premium, and he's the floor general for us, the point guard. So hopefully he just gets that trust in himself, and he can be like, okay, I'm James Harden. I don't need Reggie Miller to tell me it night after night after night. I just think that maybe a few of his teammates can go.
Shout out to Reggie, though.
Shout out to Reggie. Shout out to Reggie. I'm not normally a fan of TNT and their commentary every now and then, but Reggie giving him that love. I think that's a personality thing as well. James Harden's spoken about the team where it's like, there's a lot of introverted guys that are quite sheltered and that sort of thing. It's not a bad thing. You can just tell these guys go out there and hoop. They do their thing. They go back home. They hit the hotel room. Whereas I think James Harden feeds off energy. He's creating his own energy. And we saw that put back dunk and him go crazy and was doing it bing bong style.
Yeah.
Bingo. That's crazy.
Yeah, the frustrating part about it is like sometimes it's like James Harden will be hard. He'll be James Harden. Like we'll see like games will be like, oh, James Harden is James Harden, and then there's some games like it's the teams that like we need to beat. That's when James Harden's not really James Harden. Sometimes and it's like it's just frustrating the consistency of it. And like I said, I'm not too toxic. Like you know how the chat is toxic tonight about Harden, but I'm still gonna hold on and see what happens. But I'm just a little frustrated right now. You know, when we need him, sometimes he's not there. But it's like when we when we play the bad teams, it's like then we'll get the 30, 32 or 34 from Harden. You know.
Now, I think with is it Manuel or Manuel?
See, I've forgotten so many over the years that sometimes I forget, and I'm just like, is it? I
think.
Mom, what did you name me, Mom?
I go by Manuel. I go by Manuel.
Okay.
But most people in the Northern Hemisphere, whether it's the UK or America, go by Manuel, and I'm like, cool, whatever. Like, it doesn't really matter. A lot of people have messed up my like first name as well because there's no K on it. So, but yeah, I go by Manuel most of the time.
Yeah, okay. I just wanted to make sure so I know what to call you. But I do agree with you there in terms of like people saying that like, you know, he's like a all-star and stuff like that. And like really, even though he's definitely has some all-star level games. So I do agree that some people like take it, you know, definitely take it like too far. You know, I agree with that. But it is still concerning like not halfway, I'm tripping. A quarter of the way through the season, it is a little scary, you know, but there's time to improve. But it's just looking bad right now at the moment.
Do you guys think he's made progress since the start of the year where it's just like he's like not trying to score at all? Clearly the whistle is affecting him. Do you think that there has been progress in the positive direction where it's just like, okay, we're starting to see little bits and bobs here and there where it's just like James is still James, but he's not, you know, the beard.
Well,
I think so.
Yeah.
Well, look at it this way. He took 21 shots tonight. Like we've seen times there was games he took only 11 shots and looked like he was scared to even go to the rim. And this game, he was getting the blow-bys he needed, but it would always rim out or hit the front of the rim. So if anyone played ball before, like, you know how that feels. That's just a frustrating part of the game. So hopefully that's just bad luck on his part, but hopefully he comes back stronger next game. But while he is taking steps forward, he's kind of taking steps backward at the same time.
Yeah. That was my quote from her. Yeah, no, I agree. Like you have seen, you can't deny the injury, how much that set him back, working out through that. Then he gets hit with, we all saw it, the effect of the refs. However, I don't think I personally, like I said it tonight, like I think the refs are affecting somebody like KD more than they're affecting James Harden now. Like KD could not get a call for his life all night. Like that dude should be going to the line like all the time. Like it got to the point where KD just starting. Somebody had mentioned it in our Discord. Like KD, like if you go watch the game, KD just started pushing people as he was like going.
I watched that.
He was literally like throwing the arm. I think there was one guy I just straight saw him push, then get the ball and shoot it in, and it was like it was getting to
Derek
that
Jones.
point where. What's that?
Yeah, it was Derek Jones on the inbound from James Harden, wasn't it? Yeah.
That was just the straight. Like I think he was getting pissed because these guys were, you bump the Bulls and the guy blows the whistle and it's like dudes are straight hacking and
he is still foul baiting a little bit though.
Yeah, I mean he is, but I don't think it's quite affecting him as much as it was in the beginning to even.
Oh I agree. Yeah,
because clearly now I do think. The fact that he does not have a lob threat is hurting him. I do think that's part of his game, that if he has a legit lob threat, it opens his game up even more to be deadlier because you don't know if he's going to just like teardrop it or he's going to throw it to the guy. And it gives him a little bit more space. They can't like crowd up on him, especially when he goes in the paint or mid-range. I would like to see him hit that mid-range shot a little bit more. I think that would be a huge part of his game because he clearly is getting path to the basket. Like he's getting open. Like
Getting
yes,
open.
we've
Yeah.
agreed that his crossover, his first step has slowed, but he's still using that crossover and his body to get by people, and he's still getting there. It's just maybe that step to finish is not quite there, that maybe it wouldn't hurt him to hit that mid-range shot a little bit more, especially you want to talk about foul baiting. I mean, how nice would it be to see him come up, think he's going to drop a floater, and he just try and stops and hits a mid-range,
Exactly.
and the guy behind him probably fouls him.
Mhm.
Either trying to come
legit
over
foul.
the back or bumps into him, you get a legit foul. So I think there is a lot of things, but I kind of go back to initially what you said, where I kind of have to agree wholeheartedly. A lot of it's mental. A lot of it is like trying to, because he is missing the lob threat. He is getting his body back. The biggest thing he ever said to me was, I'm having trouble deciding whether to shoot it or pass it. And I think there's a lot to be said for that. And I think it is affecting him. I don't want to blame it on a back-to-back, because I felt like yesterday nobody really got that tired yesterday. But I do want to say this. Like, I did kind of put it out there for a couple people. Like, Jack, I don't know how much time you have to like hang out. I just wanted to bring a couple people up to like let them ask a question or say something for a couple minutes.
Sure.
So if you don't mind hanging out, and then I was gonna to like kind of close it out after a couple of these. You had said something earlier that I want to go back to, where it was like, how do we improve this team? Because we do know there's some deficiencies there, and I do think Kyrie is part of that equation. But considering some of our constraints from players, contract costs, and the potential hit to our tax hit for requiring better players, whether it's buyout or even looking to trade to somebody bigger, we have a lot of. We got Sean Marks, I guess, is going to have to be. He's going to have to be on his Sean Marks, he's going to have to pull that Sean Marks out. I think, especially this year, if he wants to really improve the team, especially if Kyrie doesn't come back, because this year I think he has less to work with than he does in recent years. Like he's getting to the end of being able to flip second round picks, first round picks, or take contracts on. So real quick, I'm going to start sending these out, but I think AJ had to go, so he just left. I don't think he's coming back. Let me double check. He just sent me a message, but oh, he can. Okay, yeah. So if you guys have any questions in the chat, go ahead and throw them out while I bring up some people here. Here we go. Let me send out the first link. If you got any questions, just do @Saint in there. It could be for me. It could be for Chubbs. It could be in general. It could be for Jack. Oh, one question I did have for you, Jack, was Cakes Boo, like I said, is our resident Australian. And she wanted to know, are you in Australia or are you in New York? And if you are in Australia, said she wasn't going to stalk you, but she wanted to know what state you lived in. Where you're from in Australia.
Yeah, I'm in Victoria, so I'm in Melbourne. Whereabouts is she?
Let's see. I'll have her. She heard that. She'll probably type it in the chat here and I'll post it up. But
No worries.
How's Melbourne? I've seen videos of it. It looks beautiful.
Look, this time of year, mate, it's probably the best time of year to be down here. It's picturesque, and we're finally getting out of lockdowns now after some pretty heavy ones, and everyone's just enjoying life a lot more. And the weather's good, and it's sunny. I'm able to wear a lot of like Nets t-shirts to work and stuff, and some Brooklyn Buzz stuff to work. And I think that's a really cultural. Vegas, there we go. I know a lot of Nets fans and NBA fans in Brisbane that I've connected.
And apparently we have another Australian in here, because this is saying they're in Vic too. Go Nets! So I guess we have more than
The Aussies is in here tonight.
Aussies taking over tonight. But look, let me ask, like, how does it that you became a Nets fan, being in Australia? Like, because I always think that's awesome when like other people from other countries like become fans of a team. Like, how did it come about for you? Were you just like, were you a New Jersey Nets fan prior, or is it just something about when you saw them come to Brooklyn and saw what Sean Mark's doing? Was there something that changed it for you?
Yeah, it's funny. I got during the week, I think someone in my mentions, some tweet prompted a person to call me a bandwagon fan. I'm like, okay, I've been here since the old Billy King days. The first year I was a Nets fan, I remember I was over in New York with my brother, and we were at, I think, like the Nike store or something. We were deciding between the Bulls. I was deciding between the Heat because I love LeBron, and I was deciding between the Nets because I love Brooklyn. I've been staying in Williamsburg, and I love the aesthetic. I love Jay-Z, love Biggie. Classic, white boy from Australia. So in saying that, I'm like, you know what? I'll go against the grain, and I won't be, the Miami Heat bandwagon LeBron one. And then basically a year later, the whole Jason Kidd, Kevin Garnett, our sort of failed iteration of the super team turned into what it was. So in terms of that, it's been 5, 6 years, 7 years. Not the longest Nets fan. I don't preach to be. I'm as authentic as I can be with that. I'm not the New Jersey style, but I've also taken in that culture and watching all the YouTube videos. And my co-host Nick has been a fan since those Jersey days, so he's really sort of cultured me up on that sort of stuff. But yeah, it's sort of just become from a love of New York and a love of Brooklyn, and then the obsession sort of grew when I started doing the podcast and started writing a little bit more, and then just became obsessed with this team and became obsessed with Nets Twitter, Nets World, and everything about it. The whole community is something pretty special.
Now, are there a lot of Nets fans in Australia?
It's funny. I'm a teacher, and a large majority of the kids in my school are probably Nets fans or Sixers fans because of Ben Simmons,
crazy,
or Lakers fans, and a lot of it is because. And I think I saw Brian Lewis do an article or someone tweet out about the fact that the Nets are trying to target, that young demographic right now, because of the fact that, you got Kyrie, you got KD, you got James Harden. The NBA fandom, I think, is drawn by the players now. And, you become a player fan much more than a team fan. So it's where those players are, you align yourself with that team. So I think that the Nets have become, an incredibly popular team. Kyrie Irving, obviously, an Australian native and a Melbourne native by nature, in terms of the fact that he was born here. He's got an Australian birth certificate. And I think
that's true. I did kind of forget about that. That's true.
Yeah. I never stop bringing it up, and I try to mention it whenever I do articles about Patty Mills or whatever. It's it's not just Patty Mills.
We had him first.
Yeah, he could have been on Team USA, but he could have been with the Boomers. But I think he's doing some big things with
That's funny.
Yeah,
that's awesome. All right, I'm going to bring up our first guest. Da Vinci, the God. I think you've been up here. I can't remember. I know you got to come off mute first.
Yo.
Hey, what's up, Da Vinci? I sent out a bunch of tweets. I'm going to bring you guys up one at a time. We got a couple minutes here because I want to bring up, I think, 3 or 4 of you, and then we're going to kind of close it out with one more segment. But hey, man, the floor is yours. You got a couple minutes. You can talk about how you felt about the game, if you what you love, you hate, if you got a question for anybody, but go ahead. You got 2 minutes. Floor is yours, bro.
All right, make this quick. Yo, my name is Divinici the God. I'm from Jersey originally, 43 years old.
Jersey. I'm a Jersey head.
From North New Jersey, matter of fact.
Newark. Nice.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm a military veteran. Living out in
Salute to you. Thank you for your service.
No doubt. Living in Gary, Indiana now, so I'm a long way from home. But well, the Nets season's been like this for me. That's my kind of night tonight. I'm not gonna lie. I've been drinking. I appreciate the love and everything like that. I've been following you guys for a few months now. Sorry, I didn't subscribe. I know I've been all this social media stuff. Being 43 is just a whole lot to keep up with. It's a lot of stuff for my kids. But I just want to say. The team is still kind of suspect. Kyrie is a key missing piece to the team. And what like Chubbs was saying, Kyrie is a 25, 28, 30 guy at night, 90% free throw shooter, 52% from the field. You can't make that up with role players who aren't used to scoring all the time.
Nope.
Patty does good for us at times. You may get a spark from James Johnson and, just different guys trying to fill in their role. But Kyrie is a key piece. The thing with Harden, if you ever play sports in any background, if it's AAU up to middle school, high school, college, professional, semi-pro, I play semi-pro ball. Pulling a hamstring is a terrible thing. Like you don't realize how much you need your legs. And Harden legitimately needed the time that he's playing now. There's still time when he shouldn't be playing 30 minutes a night, maybe 20 minutes a night, still getting a chance to get more rehab time. But he has to play more because now we're left with KD, LA. We got Patty Mills, DeAndre Bembry. That's my cousin's cousin. We was on a few weeks ago, but that's my cousin's cousin. So those are good players. They keep rope, but they're not superstars like that. KD can't be playing 40 minutes a night. But then it's a backlash on Harden because he has nights like tonight where he can't get off the ground. He's not explosive driving to the rim no more. He's not dunking on him. He's 32 years old. He's not dunking on anybody. He has nobody to actually. The pick and roll game is with him and Bruce Brown. Bruce Brown is 6'4". That's a totally different dynamic than having someone 6'10",
right.
6'11", 7'1", where if you get two defenders, he can lob it over the big man, and now you got a backdoor lob. So he's kind of confused on if I need to go for the floater, do I need to go all the way? That's probably where his confusion is now because he lobbing to LA, Blake Griffin. Those guys, they not young. We got to realize we got an old team like the Lakers. But the thing about we playing better than the Lakers. So I say, I know y'all harp on me a lot of times when I put them in the YouTube chat. I'm here we go. I'm here we go 78. That's me.
I know.
No,
you have no, but I will say this. You do have some very good takes. We may not all agree on certain things, but it's like you are very active in the chat and you do bring up quite a bit of like good points. So no.
But my thing is,
hate on you.
We got like 6 picks, right? And we got rid of a lot of pieces, right? But you can't expect guys like LA, LaMarcus, and Paul Millsap. You can't expect them guys playing 30 minutes a night. I mean, it's a young man's league.
Yes.
Like I said, I'm 43. I can go to the gym and kill little teenage boys because they don't understand the game the same way that I understand the game. But if I'm out there with 22-year-old guys, 25-year-old guys who got a game, they're going to kill me all day because they're going to be like this up and down the court, and I can't keep up with them. So my thing, like I said to you guys, is like we got to find a way to start getting Day'Ron and getting Kessler some playing time. You got to figure there are teams that we're playing that Steve Nash could put those guys in for 5 or 6 or 7 minutes, see what they're working with, get them to build the fundamentals because the future, quote unquote, is Harden, KD, Kyrie, Cam, Day'Ron, and Kessler. Those
that is the notion,
and even probably David Duke. And to that degree, those 7 guys are legitimately supposed to be the core for the next 5
and
5 years.
Even people laughed at me when Sean Marks drafted Zagorowski, right?
And that's the key thing.
There was something I saw in Zagorowski about how polished he looked with his plays. Like I think that man at some point will be like on our bench. Like I do. Because I mean, I will just interrupt you. I think what is going to happen, this is my take, my personal thought is that I think Cam has obviously leaped further and quicker into the lineup than I expected. I think the whatchamacallit, like the loss of Joe Harris accelerated that because we did need the scoring. But I was very Cam surprised me because I knew the dude could score. I just wasn't sure how the other aspects of his game were going to translate, like the speed going in. He still keeps taking it in the rack, and every once in a while they get him with a very good dunk. A very good block. I still think he's figuring out that taking it to the rack with the speed and the defense, but he's done everything that I was glad. Like we had a conversation about him in the beginning of the season where it was like, if he can like really absorb the other aspects of the game, like when to pass, like when to shoot, like when to space, things they were talking about tonight, like he'll be in there quicker, and he's done that. And I'm so happy to see that because you can tell the kid's a sponge and he's taking on everything. And it's showing in his game. Now, what I'm thinking is going to happen with Kessler and Sharp is I really think they're going to run them really hard in the G League and get them to what you're talking about. And I do think like mid to later in the season, especially when the G League ends, I do think later in the season, we are going to see those guys in those games you're talking about. Like that's that's my hope, and that's like what I think is going to happen, especially as the season gets on longer, that these guys are going to need rest. And it's something we'll talk about a little later, but to end of the show is that, what do you do to improve the Nets?
I mean, I hope so, though, because you got to think like Kessler Edwards is a 6'7" forward that could play the 3, the 4, and the 5, possibly in this league. And you could get him, you can get Dayron, and then he could play a 4 and a 5.
Mm-hmm.
You could give these guys minutes. Like you don't like the thing with the Nets. Like I was saying before, most teams in the league now realize that the stars of the league, like the LeBrons and the KDs and the Hardens, those guys are getting older, man. So the come up is these guys like drafting Cam and Kessler, those guys, because over this, like I said, this key 5 to 6 year period with the Nets. Like I've been rocking the Nets since '85, bro. The last time we got close to the championship was when Kidd and got waxed by LA and then got waxed by the Spurs. Outside of that, I mean that Darren Williams and
I like to forget those years.
Yeah, it's better we don't talk about those years.
This is the highest peak right here. This is as good as you can get with a prime KD, a prime Harden, a prime Kyrie. Like with Kyrie not playing, like I said, if he's not playing, you spending $36 million on this guy. You get those young boys in there, let them figure out how to play, because it's not like KD and Harden not going to try to teach those boys how to play. They ain't going to have no choice, because those are the guys they're going to have to play with come next year. And then after that, because you're not re-signing Millsap, you're not re-signing Blake, you're not re-signing LA next year. So at this point in time, you got to get those guys in there. Those guys are legitimately going to be, and they're not bums, because you got to realize, I know Dayron only played like 1 year at UNC, but it's a top-notch school, and he was the dude on that squad because he was so good. They wanted to play him so he wouldn't get hurt. But when he played, he was the man.
I'm a big advocate for Sharp. I want to see more Sharp at some point. I think he is going to become an issue. But
another thing about the offense is like this: we got to move the ball better. If you notice, the first we started the game out 9-0 right? Reason why people were cutting, ball was moving around, not getting stuck. Nash can't let Harden just hold the ball. There got to be some off-ball movement, or utilize KD and LA in the post a little bit more, so they can garner a double team. Then you can swing the ball back off the strong side back to the weak side and get wide open shots that way. Instead of him trying to drive and he coming into 3 or 4 guys in the paint and he not elevating over nobody and he don't got nobody to pass to. They have to have a real alternative to their offense. Like, don't burn KD out. But look, hey.
Yeah, no, I will sorry to interrupt you, but that my question too, and I'll say this to Jack, and maybe you could come up with something funny. I've always asked, what's the name of our offensive scheme? Like, is there a name? Like, because I said it was Durant Harden or something. What did I came up with?
The Harden, I think.
The Harden, I think, was the name of our offensive game plan and scheme. Because there really isn't a whole lot of you bring up good point. Like Da Vinci, I definitely want you to come back up. I got other guy to bring up. You were speaking facts tonight, and I appreciate it. I do appreciate you constantly. I see you in every stream, and it is very appreciated. And definitely in the future, now that we're connected, come up, dude, because you were speaking facts tonight, and I do appreciate that.
Most definitely, man. Like I said, I appreciate the love. I'll be doing nothing. If I ain't making music, I'm an IT guy. So if my brain ain't worrying about analytical stuff, I need to decompress. So sports is my thing. Giants and the Nets. The Giants are sucking ass.
I got one for you. Make a opening beat for the Nets Kingdom. We need a new
I'll work
song
on that. Well, look, I'm 43, so
I got you beat. I'm 45.
I'm a boom bap type of guy, but
that's low key even better. That might be even better.
That's even better. You say you 43?
Yeah, I'm 43.
I'm one of the old
black
heads
don't
too,
crack, OG. That's crazy. That's crazy. You like 25. That's crazy.
Yeah, not man. Like my Santa Claus beard I got at 45. Yeah.
Oh, it's coming, man. It's a slow process, though.
I do appreciate you, man. Seriously. Much love.
I appreciate that, Saint. And all you June Chubbs, all y'all. I'll be watching y'all. AJ, I'll be watching. Man. I appreciate the love.
Man. Come up more.
Most definitely.
I appreciate it, man. Yeah. All right, dude.
All right, bro.
Have a good one.
You Work too. On that beat.
All right, we got one more to go, and then I'm gonna bring up the conversation that we talked about earlier about what do we do to improve the Nets. This is gonna be Callaway. Callaway, how are you doing?
Hey, what's goody, y'all?
Not much.
What's
Welcome
up?
to the kingdom.
What's up,
Good,
Queen?
man. I've been up in here for a minute. I'll be
We
over
do
there.
we do battle in the chat some, don't we?
Bruh, yo, you be tripping in Discord. You be
I
tripping.
can't help it.
All right.
Welcome.
Well, like last boy said, this is the epitome of my night. Okay, this right here.
You
This
got
right
the apple.
Why did the two people have got bottles tonight, bro? Like
That's the
it was that
E and
kind
J?
of night. I will agree. I think Jack
That's
would
a fact.
agree. I think everybody would agree. It was one of those nights where you were just
Mhm.
like, I was excited the whole game. Even the
I was
third
excited
quarter.
before the game.
Even the third quarter, we slipped a little. I was like, okay. But then the fourth and then that last 5 minutes, I was like, we're gonna lose this. Like,
See,
I
the one
can't
thing I
believe
do
we're
like
gonna
about
lose
our
this.
team, the one thing I do like about our team is if we get in front, 9 times out of 10, we're not gonna lose.
Mm.
Like, we gotta stop playing from behind. Like, that shit pisses me off.
But
I
I
don't
think we've
understand
done
why
better
we do
at that though this year. I think Jack, you
Yeah,
would
we did.
agree. Like we've done better at starting better, especially when we
Mhm.
went to this Patty Bembry in LA,
Patty,
lineup,
Patty.
right?
Yeah, I
We've
think
gotten
I'm
so much
all
better.
about the Patty wagon, but what pissed me off tonight about Patty, remember that shot you talked about how Katie
Mhm.
passed to me at a wide open 3?
Yeah,
It
I'm
happened
like,
twice.
I'll give him that though. Patty's been
what?
clutch.
It happened twice?
Yes, because he passed it back to Katie. Katie passed it back to Patty, and it was the same
That
coverage.
is true. That is true.
Nah, he did
That
do
is
that. He
true.
did.
Okay, you're right.
He did do
there.
that. He
You
did do
got
Every
us
that.
time
there.
Patty got the ball, I got 3 fingers up, like ready to go, and he just passed it up twice. I'm like, what are you doing?
Nah,
That's
but
true,
that's a
yeah.
brain fart. I don't think Patty's gonna do that again. So that happens
No.
to the best of them. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think he's up in his head. I think a lot of the times with Patty and with all players, you can say this about James Harden as well, is that
Yeah.
they have it predetermined on what they think the play is going to be. And in the clutch moments of the fourth quarter, it's like, okay, I need to get the ball to KD. I need to get the ball to KD. I'm not taking
That's
a shot
a
here.
fact.
It's
That's
got to
a
go to
fact.
KD.
That's a fact.
Whereas normally when Patty's at his best, he's just unconscious, not thinking. He takes a 3 as quick as anyone in the league.
Yeah.
That's a
That
fact.
I agree.
Yeah.
He was in his head.
Would you
That's
say
a fact.
quicker than
Quickest jump
Joe
shot.
Harris? Like
The
even
thing
has
quicker
about
than Joe
Quickest
Harris?
jump shot in the league. I think he has
Yes.
the quickest jump shot in the league.
It's him and
honestly.
Steph.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think
Nah, but say,
it's
say
up
No,
my
there.
name
it's
on our
Steph. I think
offense
it's
is
Steph.
Katie
It's
or
Steph.
bust, because that's exactly what happens. Every time when it gets to in the clutch, because Katie and DeMar tonight, they were trading baskets. It was like a heavyweight fight. Back
Yeah.
and forth, back and forth. It was nobody else but DeMar and Katie just hitting shots. Nobody else seemed like they could hit a shot to say they like.
Mhm.
And
No.
it just like, so that's the real name of our offense. That's what they did last year in the playoffs. That's what they did all year this year. It's Katie or bust. Get a ball to Katie and run. And I can't really blame them for it because
Mhm.
Katie's the GOAT. That's the guy. Like, you feel me? But
Yeah.
I mean, my thing is, Harden stands don't get at me.
This ought to be
Moving
good.
on.
Yeah, I want to hear this.
I want to hear this. Go for it.
I would love to
First
hear.
things first. Have y'all noticed over the past couple days, Harden has a mid-range game. He has
Yeah.
that mid-range shot. He's
We
been going
just
through
talked
it. I
about
don't know
this,
what
yes.
happened and why he stopped. Every time I don't know why he puts his head down. Like, what point guard? I played point and shooting guard. What point guards are gonna put their head down and just drive to the lane every single time and not look around, head on a swivel, not notice that you got all this open space with nobody around you where you can stop and pop? Especially if you have that mid-range game. I don't understand what he was on for that.
And if you open, bro, like I get,
Wide open. There was
you
no
wide
way
open. I get if
open.
you not like that, you don't want to take no contested, but you open, bro. Like
Nothing
But
contested at all.
that you could to not to interrupt here, but you could bring that to the how much was he used to getting fouls at that moment. And I think there still is a hope of him going in, head goes down, kind of does that lazy like throw up pass and then goes like, I think there is some expectations of fouls. I think there is. I mean,
yeah. But I mean, they weren't calling fouls on anybody. KD Should have been
Yeah.
into the line like you said earlier, like 50 times. It is to the point where he's pushing people, and then the second he push people, they caught a foul on KD, and that's why he's getting mad and he's getting frustrated. But I mean, I was watching the Raptors and Bucks game, the same stuff that James Harden used to do. They calling fouls on him. Chris Middleton did that shit. I think it was to Fred VanVleet, which brings me to the next one about Kyrie stance. I'm sorry. I think it's time to start talking about, should we trade Kyrie? And the guy that I would trade Kyrie for is Fred VanVleet. He's another.
Well, we do, Jack. I don't know if you've seen this. I may have posted it on your thing, but I commonly, when we get to this point, I usually throw this picture up.
Saw that one.
Okay?
This is
Like, my way of dealing with Kyrie is totally humor. Okay, I don't know. We've done a thing here called "What is Kyrie doing?"
Kyrie doing? I know.
I mean, this has been another great one. I know you've seen that. Like that. I mean, go. Okay, this before I let you go, Kat, go ahead, cook up real quick on your Kyrie, and then go for it.
So, like, another thing about Kyrie is because he's gonna walk. We're not extending him. He's gonna wind up walking, and we're gonna lose him for nothing. So
you're convinced of that?
Go ahead. Yeah, like he's gonna walk because we're not gonna extend him. Not after
How you know that?
Yeah.
Like if he got the shot, why wouldn't
if he
they?
got the shot, it's a whole different story. He
Yeah.
got a
Oh,
shot,
okay.
and we ain't even talking about this. But
Oh,
let's
yeah,
keep
okay.
it up. Kyrie's making $17 million from not getting the shot. He's not getting the shot. So with that
Right.
being said, we need to trade him. So
But to who?
I
I
would
got
ask,
the
like,
trade
what-
machine right now.
yeah, put up the trade machine because my thing is just like, what is Fred VanVleet making, and would that trade work? Because he's a 20-point per score game.
Oh yeah,
Like,
Fred
you know what I
VanVleet a bucket. But-
Fred
Fred
making
VanVleet
19 a
a
year.
smooth
Hold on.
Before Callaway, I let you go. I am going to bring one other person in here. That's another special guest. I don't know if AJ's watching. I know Jack knows him, but this man usually pulls us back to reality. He is known as Jay from Brooklyn.
Hey, what's goody?
And I'm sure as you've noticed, he put janitor not depressed.
They're not depressed. Oh man.
I don't understand how Chubbs. I just realized like midway through the chat, in the chat, midway through the stream, that Chubbs changed his name to Speechless.
Oh no, it's been like that from
It's been like that
from
since
the
the
jump. Yeah.
beginning.
Like,
But
mind you, what can you really say about this game? Harden shot 21 shots. He got 14 assists, 0 turnovers, and only made 5 of his shots. Like, what can we really analyze and say what went wrong for this game?
yeah, you can't. I mean, outside. Yeah, I don't even. Yeah, I don't even want to.
Good thing Harden didn't turn the ball over. I guess that's the only thing you can take.
Dude, I mean, that's the biggest thing I don't think anybody's talking about is we had 5 turnovers in the whole game. That is huge.
That's crazy.
And it's like it's like it didn't even happen. But Callaway, listen, I appreciate you coming up, and I want you to come up again.
That's a fact. That's a fact.
Definitely love having you. I love going back and forth with you in the chat, and especially in Discord. I'm glad we got more ladies in here because we're trying to build the ladies, and we're also trying to get a lady stream going. We just got to get all of you on the same page.
It'll happen.
And then let you guys just go.
Y'all little ladies only thing. I was like, oh no, let me get up out of here.
It's gotta happen. So I do appreciate you coming up. Much love, and hopefully we do
money.
this again.
I'll see y'all boys in Discord.
Alrighty.
All right.
Bye. Welcome, Jay from Brooklyn.
What's going
Jay,
on, y'all?
is that Jay from?
Yes.
Is that the janitor
It is the
Yeah,
janitor.
who works at the Barclays? That's
Who
him.
works at the Clay?
Sure.
Yes.
Oh, that's
The one and
crazy.
And you notice we have the one and only Jack Manuel on here. Jay turned me
man.
on. He's the one that got me on your page, Jack. Like when he had Patty shout out to you at the practice at the park. That's when I became aware of you and started following you and listening to your pod as well. So again, Jay spreading the love, getting people to hook up more.
I don't think people give Jay enough credit for that. I think, like, in terms of how inclusive of the Nets community and how he's lifting everyone up in such a big way, I think Jay needs to get more love that way. A lot of like the impression people get of him is like, the guy, the Kyrie guy, the no sources, or blah 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 blah. The same, all that sort of shit. Where it's just like, nah, my guy Jay is a real one, and
Yes, he
I've
is.
said that time and time again. Whether it's on Spaces, or it's on the Buzz, or whether it's here now, any platform I get the chance to talk about my guy, I'll talk with my guy. Like, I always love it. Always love it.
Appreciate that.
Well, I mean, all right, Jay. So I don't know that we should go into this next part of like how do we improve things, but I guess I'm just going to end like we need some of that calming nature that you bring to, because there has been a little bit of overreaction. I don't think I overreact. I think I was just more frustrated today because I felt like everybody did what they were supposed to in this game. And I felt like the only two things that I could really point to that just of what, because to me, there shouldn't be any, like, this was a very winnable game. There was nothing that, like, no excuses, like no back. I don't want to hear back to back. I don't want to hear like some of the dumb things that I've been hearing. Like, this was a very winnable game. And the only things I can really kind of point to me of why this like got slipped away from us was just the fact that Harden wasn't scoring. And I was not a fan of this Bruce Brown in at the end when Bembry has been a dog for us. Mm-hmm. And the man's been scoring, playing defense, and grabbing rebounds, and getting steals, getting in the passing lane. And you some reason go away from that at the end of the game. Those are kind of my takeaways of like why we lost. Now, make this make sense for us a little bit, Jay. Because it was very frustrating to see this game. This one was more annoying than anything.
Let me just disagree slightly.
That's okay.
About the Bruce Brown part. Bruce Brown has been, for me, overall this season, he's been bad.
Yeah.
And I'm saying that from the standpoint of Bruce is playing for a contract.
Yes.
That we forgot about that. He's taking a pay cut this year.
He's playing for a contract. So my expectation of him, and I would argue his expectation of himself, is that he's got to do better. Like, I don't know if I've said this with you all before, and I don't know what anyone has said about Bruce leading up to now. So pardon me if I'm repeating anything. Bruce Brown is worse than DeAndre Bembry, and Bembry is on a minimum contract.
Not guaranteed, Jay. You've said that before.
Yeah.
Right. No, and it's not guaranteed either.
Nope.
The thing about Bruce Brown is Bruce Brown, if he doesn't have that floater going, it's damn near impossible for him to score.
Yeah.
Bruce Brown on a fast break will dunk the ball. Any other time, Bruce Brown doesn't attempt to dunk the ball. If there's anybody in the paint, it's always a floater, or he does some weird body machination try of a layup. Bruce Brown messes up numerous Harden assists every game because around the basket, Bruce Brown is LeBron James in the final minute of an NBA basketball game. He's allergic to contact. He avoids contact at all costs. And it's like, damn, do you trust that you're going to make your free throws? And here's why, for me, enough people don't talk about this, and I don't like to harp on anything, but Saint, you're gonna love what I'm about to say. People, and Jack's here, so Jack, you're gonna love it too. People gave Joe Harris so much shit for the last few games of the Milwaukee series. Joe Harris, you have seen his worth with how he started the season, and you see his worth even more with him being injured right now, and the levity that is not there because that shooter is not on the floor. Why do I mention Joe Harris in this instance? Because Bruce Brown and his being afraid of contact, that bullshit is the reason why we lost game 3 against Milwaukee. We should have been up 3-0.
Ooh.
Do people not remember that? He shot
Yeah,
some
I remember.
bullshit floater instead of, didn't Kyrie say, yo, you should
did.
dunk that?
Yeah. And it's not like he doesn't have the speed or the hops to like dunk it on people either. That's the other thing. Yeah.
Jay, you talking about game 3, right? He had
Game
like 5.
3.
He missed like 5 shots in the fourth, like at the last 4
And
minutes.
let's not forget that legally blind ass drive to the lane on Brooke Lopez, of all people to do that to.
Yeah.
Let's not forget that.
And he didn't try to dunk it at all.
Yeah.
So for me, it's like, yo, you are playing for a contract. What are you doing right now?
Yeah.
Tonight was a microcosm of that because he missed so many around the rim.
Yep.
And I don't know if anybody said this because it gets overlooked and he is going to get a pass for this, but Bruce has been throughout the season ranked in the top 5, top 10 on certain defensive metrics.
We didn't say it that way, but we did acknowledge the defensive game that he has and 11, 12 rebounds, but it was the momentum killing of going to the basket. So we kind of touched on it, but go for it.
It's not, but Saint, it's not, and the rebounds were good tonight. His defense was terrible.
Mm-hmm.
His defense.
I could.
I thought Bembry was better. I thought he was good at getting through screens. That's what he was good at. But and we saw Bembry block a Zach LaVine drive and a DeMar DeRozan jumper. So it's like the two guys that were killing us in the fourth. Why isn't he out there when he's shown that he can literally make hell? Yeah.
And
I would have preferred to have seen Bembry out there in the fourth myself.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's why I said, those were the two things, just the lack of James scoring and then having Bruce Brown in that fourth quarter was the only thing that I could really, because, the one thing I appreciate about Jay is Jay does bring you kind of back. We definitely have had our time where we've gone in on Nash, heavy, but Jay has helped me kind of see some things where I have to give Nash some credit, and definitely he has improved drastically as a coach, but you could say that's the one, Nick, if I had to be like, Nash, what were you thinking, dude? Why didn't you go to Bembry?
Right.
But it just – because outside of that, I felt like Nash coached a good game up into having Brown in there. Mm-hmm. You're not going to sit Harden. I'm sorry. You're just not going to, because he does offer those other things. And you have the hope Harden can usually maybe work himself out of it. So I get that. But the Bruce one to me was the inexcusable, especially when you look at what Patty, LA, and Bembry have done since Harris has gone down and since they've become the starting lineup with KD and Harden. It's why wouldn't you go back to that? That was the one, to me, that was the head scratcher. I didn't realize Bembry was I liked Brown's play. I liked what he had been bringing. He definitely has his moments in last year. But Bembry, to me, I'm going, wow, Bembry is actually better than Brown. And I was surprised at that because I didn't know anything about Bembry up into this year. In fact, somebody pointed it out. I was cut Bembry. He doesn't have a guaranteed contract.
Yeah, we were all on that.
Keep Sekou because I
thought on that Bembry train.
I think Sekou was a project that I wanted to keep. It was just my thought, but because I didn't know anything about Bembry. I had no idea about this man, and I was obviously, thank God, I'm not the GM and I didn't cut Bembry,
and Saint, I want to add to the point and to Jay's point too about Bruce being in the fourth. A lot of people got mad at Harden, which they were in the right. He didn't close out on Lonzo's dagger 3. But a lot of people don't pay attention. Bruce was right next to Lonzo when he shot that. Literally a hop up and reach out away from potentially having him miss that. And a lot of people don't want to talk about that.
Ball was very wide open for that 3, though. I'm sorry. He was too wide open for that 3. That last 3 that kind of was the dagger.
Yeah, there's a
I'ma tell you,
screenshot going around of like Harden just looking, and it's just like,
Yeah.
my guy, just run it a little bit, please.
Yeah. But Bruce was there too, and I felt like
Yeah.
he's not getting attacked enough for that when he was virtually
Yeah.
closer to Lonzo than Harden.
Fair call.
Well,
but Bruce is a darling. So
yeah.
Bruce, unfortunately, and this is whoever catches a stray just catches a stray. There's a certain level of intelligence that people have to ask themselves, are they using? Because, and I'm pretty sure we've talked about it on the stream before, people have certain individuals who they consistently talk about every game. Coach Nash, James Harden, and then the third one is usually it was Joe Harris at one point. Then he was just on fire, and people couldn't use that anymore. Then it was Blake Griffin. Now he's benched. You can't use that anymore. So it's interchangeable. But Bruce never catches any of that. So it's like people go to the go-tos. For them, it's like, thankfully Harden wasn't that good. Well, had his moments where he wasn't good tonight, so they can use him as somebody to beat up on. Coach Nash, they'll blame him for whatever. They can use him. Bruce Brown rarely catches any of those strays.
That's true.
Even
I
when
did
it's
hear.
warranted.
Yeah, I did hear the announcers remarking about his great rebounding total, and I mean, okay, I will have this conversation because I do want to hear what Jack says, and I'll throw it to you, and then we'll kind of use this topic to like kind of close it out. Like, we weren't going to have a long show, but like I just started throwing started winging out shots, and I'm like, dude, what's Jack doing? Like, so I'm like, Jack, what are you doing, bro? Like, come on, Jack. Like, because I've been wanting to talk to Jack for a while, and I want to do, Jack, invite you back again to do like a proper show where I give you your shout outs, I plug your stuff, but this is what my thought was, because we had this conversation yesterday and we weren't going to stay on long today. We were kind of bummed AJ's not here. Yesterday AJ wasn't here either, and we kind of did like the what if, right? And I don't even think this is what's up. Go for it, Jay.
Pardon me for a second, because I saw
problem.
somebody in the chat asked, why was James Johnson out?
Oh yes, yes.
I asked people on Spaces yesterday, did they say anything on the broadcast about James Johnson? And they said they did not. Nope. James Johnson injured his shoulder, his left shoulder. I think it was in the first half. I think it was in the first half yesterday. And he was like stretching it a lot to the effect that he went back to the locker room in the second half yesterday. And like a number of people have seen where I sit at Nets games. When he came out the locker room, I was like, yo, man, what's up with your shoulder? You all right? He was like, nah, man, I'm good. But he was still like stretching it to the point that when he came back in the game, I was like, yo, this guy is serious about getting this win, because he was so compromised. He hurt his left shoulder yesterday, and he toughed it out for the rest of the game.
You could see he just missed a few layups as well that were short. It puts it into context.
Yes, but he legitimately, if anybody recorded, like I usually record every game and like watch it the next day. If anybody still has yesterday's game recorded, he hurt his left shoulder yesterday. And so I talked about that on the Spaces yesterday. And then when somebody tweeted that he was doubtful and then that he was out, I was like, sounds familiar, because I figured he was not going to play today.
Yeah, because that was like a last minute game thing that we saw. And AJ is listening. He says, "Preach, Jay." So,
pardon me for interrupting you, saying what you were
No,
saying.
it's okay. Like, because like I said, we weren't really going to do this, but I was like, screw it, man. People want to they vent a little bit. I'm one of those people, like, win, lose, like, you always show up, whether you win, whether you lose, you show up with the same intensity, you keep the same energy, whether you lose, you take your lumps, you talk about it, you move on to the next game. But we did have a good conversation yesterday about like what ifs. And the one that I was like more interested in, and I'm not like talking the crazy what ifs, like somebody was saying, if James Harden doesn't want to re-sign with us, send him to the 76ers for Maxey and and Ben Simmons, right? Like we had that
What?
what if conversation. Yes, some guy posted
God.
something yesterday bringing up a what if, and we talked about it because we had fun with it, right? And then we've talked about the Kyrie thing because I still think there's a lot of nobody knows what's going to happen with that yet. So that brings up an interesting conversation sometimes. But what really interests me is, do you think we need to, and I'm excluding Kyrie from this conversation, right? Kyrie is not here, and as of right now, I have no plans on him coming back. That's just where my thought is, right? Like that's where I've come to acceptance for me. So I'm not even like, how do the Nets improve this team, or do you think they need to improve this team? And do you think we have the players waiting in the line, i.e. Kessler and Sharp, which I think are going to get some play later in the season when people need to rest? How do we improve this team in some of the areas that we may have concern, like lack of scoring right now with sometimes with Harris being out, maybe getting another shooter for spacing, trying to hopefully Claxton comes back, because there's still questions. We don't know fully yet how Claxton's going to come back and fit into this. And is he going to be effective? Is he going to be the guy that we want him to be? So my question going forward is, how do we improve this team with some of the constraints of, i.e., anybody we add as a buyout or using a TPE adds a massive hit to our tax. You know, you get a guy from a $5 to a $10 million player added onto with our other contracts could potentially be anywhere from a $20 to $60 million tax hit, right? And then you look at our contracts, you look at Patty's at what, 5.8, and then it goes Bruce is like 4, I think. And then it drastically drops off after that, where most people are making 2.6 million, maybe down to the lowest is like 1, where it's like we don't have a lot of picks. And if you think we need to improve our team, like, how do you think we really do that? Like, realistically. And I'm leaving Kyrie off this because that's too easy to say, go ahead, trade Kyrie and his $35 million and get back assets, whatever. So I'll throw that kind of out to Jack, because I heard Jack earlier said something like about improving this team going forward in this year and fixing some of the holes we have. And then Jay, like, just take it away from there. It's like, how do you see this?
I think internal improvement will happen because the best version of Clax improves this team markedly, as does the best version of Joe Harris. Outside of that, I saw on Netflix today people bring up like guys like James Ennis and these sort of guys who are guys around the margins, and I'm just like, one guy that I'm intrigued to hear what Jay, because I'm not sure what happened to, like, because he seemed to be a guy that just loved being in Brooklyn as well and just loved the team. Tyler Johnson is just someone who's always just intrigued me. It's just a guy as a more offensively capable, sort of like in Javon Carter's role, because he'd always be out there in the corner, hitting the 3-ball every now and then, pestering guys 94 feet. Now, I'm not saying Tyler Johnson solves all the Nets' issues, but, the Nets need an extra ball handler. I just thought that Tyler Johnson was serviceable as a role player for the Brooklyn Nets. That Phoenix Suns game where the Nets had a massive comeback with James Harden, Tyler Johnson was a big part of that too. So I just think that guys like that could be had, but I think more, and Jay said this on the Spaces as well, that I think the internal improvement is the one thing that's probably going to be the main thing. But yeah, I'm just intrigued by Tyler Johnson, Jade. I don't know what actually happened to him and why the Nets chose to sort of let him have his services elsewhere.
Go for it, Jay.
With respect to Tyler Johnson, it wasn't more so about having his services elsewhere as much as it was Sean put together a team, and he didn't expect two things. He did not expect that he was going to be able to sign Paul Millsap. That's one. Mm-hmm. He didn't expect that Kyrie would not be eligible to play, hence the need to keep Javon Carter.
And Javon Carter seems like to be the one guy that not a lot of people are happy with, though, either. Just to point that out, but
so no, I don't disagree with that, but I'm gonna say something, and if you haven't heard me say it, you're gonna be like, that makes a lot of damn sense, and people will chill with Javon Carter for a minute when I say what I'm gonna say, but Tyler Johnson, I too think he was excellent, but Tyler Johnson does not fit when Kyrie is healthy and on the team. He would be a luxury right now, but at what expense? Literally the only person we can get rid of right now is Javon Carter. What does it cost us to get rid of him, though? Because no team is just taking him and giving us a pick back.
Yeah.
We probably have to add a pick. And how many seconds do we have? Like,
very few, if any.
Right.
Very few.
Right.
Yeah.
So now, with respect to Jack, I hope that answered your question. It's not more so Tyler Johnson. It's more so we did not have the room to bring back Tyler Johnson.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Even though he would be a luxury, yeah.
He would be a luxury right now, but it's not just that. It's that, and Jack, you're gonna understand, because I know you all in St. This isn't a shot at you all at all.
No.
You all do a great job on the stream. You all have, but I know Jack and Nick have been potting for years, right? So, and I'm sure you all have talked about this. What was the Nets' biggest issue last year that Sean fixed over the summer?
Defense and size.
Yeah, we've all agreed at that too. Yeah, for sure.
Right. And so with the roster spots that he filled up this year, even with not keeping Sekou, right? Mm-hmm. Even with not keeping K-Cock, and I won't make any jokes about his name.
When we got rid of him, that took a lot of my comedic power away, bro. I had a whole segments lined up for that.
But didn't those two alone, right? Didn't they fit the need of what we didn't have last year?
Right.
Yeah.
Size and defense.
Yeah.
And what were a lot of people saying, you admitted it yourself, saying about Bembry?
Yep.
I wasn't saying anything negative about him. I was just like, because I had zero knowledge of him, I'm like, and he has an unguaranteed, I was like, yeah, go ahead, cut him. You know what I mean? Like, that seemed the most logical move, but in hindsight,
and it's a fair listen. I'm not taking a shot at you.
Oh no, of course not.
That's realistic to what a number of people said, and you know what? I understand people taking that stance, especially if you've not watched his game. I definitely understand it.
Yeah.
My thing though is, when Sean constructed the team, it's almost like, you know how people say catching a stray? It's almost like Tyler Johnson caught a stray, because Sean made sure, even though people were critical of how the team looked going in the training camp and how they got rid of Sekou and then got rid of K-Cock, Sean made sure that the defense and size would not be an issue. The Landry Shamet trade, more so than anything, was to make sure you got Day'Ron Sharpe.
Yeah. People do seem to forget, like, hey, I know you guys are mad at Carter. I know you don't like him. You wish he was gone. But that man got you Day'Ron Sharpe. And it's like, the other thing too, though, and I will say this in defense of like Sean Marks, in defense of these players, and even Carter a little bit, because he does play some good defense at times that do help, is that if we didn't, and letting go somebody like Tyler Johnson, and I've also heard the complaints of, Shamet's gone. It's like, but think about it. If we were in the situation we are in now with Kyrie being gone, or just some of the other issues, no Joe Harris, Claxton being out, imagine what we would be going through with last year's roster.
Oh my God.
Jesus
We
Christ.
would
Let's
not
let's
be
not.
number.
Let's
We
not.
would not be first in the East. We would not be like doing nearly like. I think it would be very ugly. Like we're getting mad that KD doesn't have enough scores around him. We're getting mad that people are blowing layups at the. I mean, that would just be the tip of the iceberg of like what we'd be complaining about right now if we did have last year of like Shamet, Tyler Johnson, who else? I know I'm forgetting Chioza, Mike James. Like who else was that you could throw in there? TLC,
Man
like
Shumpet.
DJ. Yes,
Man,
like so.
shut up.
Imagine facing this year with this year's adversities with last year's
Andre
team.
Roberson.
Exactly.
Yeah, and the 5
So-
games he was here. Yeah. Oh
Facts.
my God.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
when we do, I just Nets Nation, and if you rewatch this later, or you're not in the chat, or you're in the chat, like remember that when you get overbeared, like and overwhelmed, and you're pissed off, and especially today, just remember what we like, how it would be if we had last year's players to step up into this shit. I mean, Uncle Jeff, though, that is different. I do miss him. That's a good point, Uncle Jeff, but. With that, I just had to throw that in there, Jay, because that just the whole time you're saying that, I'm thinking, thank God, thank God we went and got the guys that we got this year, in comparison to last year.
I'm going to tell you, but this is the other part. And Jack, feel free to use this if you haven't. And saying you can run with this after I say it. For everybody who's coming down on Javon Carter and want him to be completely banished and have been wondering why he was getting playing time over Cam. One, Cam did not deserve playing time until he dropped 46 in that G League game and got his confidence back. And
Right.
and you saw a different level of confidence when he got on the court. But here's the point about the importance of Javon Carter, because we as fans, we comment usually 100% on what we see. We don't comment on what we don't see. And in truth about it is there's a certain level of common sense that doesn't kick in either. And how does this pertain to Javon Carter? I think it was Fran Fraschilla. I'm almost positive it was Fran Fraschilla. He said that coming out of college, Javon Carter was the best perimeter defender that he has ever seen. This man has been a college basketball coach or covering the college game for over 40 years. He said Javon Carter is the best perimeter defender that he's ever seen. Who do you think Cam Thomas is having guard him in practice? Javon Carter. Javon Carter is also guarding James Harden. He's also guarding Patty Mills. He's also, if it comes to it, he's also guarding Kevin Garnett. So he's specifically Cam Thomas, though, he's helping to make Cam Thomas a better player, because if Cam Thomas can score on him in practice, what kind of defenders?
It's free smoke for anybody. Okay.
Right. Yeah. What kind of scorers is he seeing on another NBA team? He's not. So Javon Carter is doing a lot of things that you can't see.
Yeah. That makes sense. That makes sense.
That's the value of all championship teams. There are guys who are practicing against them who are making the starters better. It's kind of like, I use this example often. I don't know if I've used it on you all stream before. It's kind of like years ago, and some people may not have been watching NBA at this point in time, but it's kind of like years ago when Sam Cassell, I call him Little Ugly, was on the Milwaukee Bucks, right? And they were doing an interview with him, and Little Ugly, one of the reporters was like, "Yo, who's that guy over there?" Right? And they would talk, his street ball name was Skip to My Lou. But Rafer Alston, he was like a rookie on the Milwaukee Bucks. And the reporter was asking about him. And Little Ugly was like, that guy right there, he busts my ass every day in practice. Y'all gonna know who he is. And
you're talking about this guy, right? This guy, Little Ugly?
Yeah.
You're talking about him, right? This is for a lot of you youngins. This is Sam Cassell. This is who he's talking about. He's talking about Little Ugly.
But
yeah,
practice,
I'm sorry, go on.
No, that's cool. In practice, Skip, who's Rafer Alston, who ended up getting a big contract from the Orlando Magic as a free agent after that, he was making Sam Cassell better. And so sometimes you don't see the worth of someone because, like, we only see them in game. And you're like, yo, Javon Carter is not what's happening. But he's also been helping Cam to become a better player. And Cam, like, he was up and down tonight, but clearly in the last week plus, he's been a way better player.
Oh, yeah. I mean, even tonight, I'm not even really, like, I have no real negative words for Cam tonight. I mean, the Bulls are a decent team, and he's going to have his moments. Like, the positive that I've seen with Cam is that it's the other areas of his game that had me concerned. Like, because I never was concerned about him scoring, right? Like, I figure once he figured out the speed, the length of some of these, like, these defenders, like, it, you know, he would become accustomed to it and find a way to score. I was just more concerned about spacing, ball movement, like defending. But you can clearly see they've been working with him on those areas, and he's been improving, which leads me kind of like to my next part of my question before we get out of here was, I think personally that Sharp and Kessler are going, because I thought Kessler was going to see a lot of action before Cam and Sharp, but I think, like you said, with the game he had in the G League, his confidence showed up. He probably showed huge strides in practice, and then with the loss of some of our offense, Cam got pushed quicker. But I feel like, and this kind of goes into like, how do we improve the team going forward? Because I do think it's going to be kind of like real touchy when it comes to picking up people possibly in buyout, or even we really don't have a lot of moves as far as trades, right? Like we really don't have a lot of trade pieces. We have very little, if any, second round picks to do anything with. I don't know how much those TPEs are going to come in play now. I feel like they're better off at the end of the year. So my thought is Kessler and Sharp are getting put through the ringer right now. They're practicing. They're coming up and practicing. They're going down to the G League and practicing. They're playing in G League games. Like, I feel like, I will say this only with Kyrie, like, even though like it gets frustrating at time with the Kyrie and what's going to happen, there's no other trade with Kyrie that could do, like, your best acquisition for the Nets to get better is for Kyrie to come back. There is nothing you can do that would make this team any better this year, even with trading Kyrie, that would make this team better than him coming back. With that being said, I look at the other pieces, and my thought is like Kessler and Sharp are being really like put through the ringer to be more effective for us midway and towards the end of the season. When guys need rest, when we need that extra thing, possibility of injuries. What are your thoughts on that, guys? Like, I mean, that's just kind of where I'm at with it.
Kess had 23 and 17 tonight in Long Island. So there's his breakout game that we're sort of looking for. And I think because he's on the two-way, I'm not sure what the parameters are, if it's like 50 games or if it's minutes or whatever. I think he has to sort of be used sparingly. And so what you're saying, Sam, whether it's towards the end of the year, you know, I like the moments that he had against Golden State as well when he was thrown out there. You know, the three ball, I know Jay's told me this, like he's been working a lot with Joey Buckets, and you can just see the form improvement there. You know, and to get him out in the second round, he's just the exact prototype that you could slot in for the Nets. And it's just like 3-and-D, wing role player, and genuine D. Like, he's better at D than he is at the three part. Not to be explicit or whatever, but he's an awesome defender. And he's got great size, and I think, you know, we've been talking
hustle
about, like,
and grabs rebounds as well. Yes,
good rebound, like 17 rebounds today. He out rebounded, and Daron Sharp was said to be the best rebounding best rebounder in last year's draft. He had 6 tonight. I'm not sure what the role was for him, but Kess is just, he does some great things. So I'm excited what he could bring to the team. And before James Johnson got himself going, I was like, come on, man, like surely Kess can do as much as what James Johnson is, but he's obviously worked his way into some form and can be a really solid defensive piece and ball handler, sort of secondary in that sort of way. But yeah, I think it's hard to preach patience, but I think that we are 23 games into the season for the Brooklyn Nets right now. They're in a pretty good spot. Jay sort of preached this quite a bit. Who gives a shit where they are in the standings as long as they're getting some home court advantage? It's just going to be about I think the process. What's the form like? What's the health like? And if you've got a few options here and there, because obviously Kyrie's the one waiting in the wings. Clax is going to be coming back, hopefully working himself way into some full health going forward. I think I'm positive about that because the Nets have done that before, him coming off the shoulder injury last year. And then Joe Harris as well. So I was impressed by the Nets depth at the start of the season. So I think it's just that there are injuries, there are absences now. So it's hard to just be like, okay, well, then what can we do here? There's probably be some buyout guys here and there as well, whether it's a ball handler. I think that's probably something the Nets will target. I think Kessler Edwards would probably be better than like a James Ennis or whoever else other people throw out there, to be honest. I'd rather just give it to one of our own, give him the opportunity and the reward for putting in the dues in practice and at the G League. So I think that a ball handler is probably the prototype that I can think of that the Nets might choose to add if they do go down that route.
What, Jack? You've mentioned James Ennis a few times, and Saint, I think you said it. Were people serious?
No. I never said James Ennis.
I saw this from someone on Nets Twitter that they were talking about.
He did preface it by saying he saw this on Nets Twitter.
Me.
This is not an original Jack idea.
Not me.
Were
I will
they
speak
drinking?
up for him on that.
We've had a few people drinking on the stream today.
Yes, apparently, our last 2 callers that we pulled up did show bottles and yes. So there are people drinking tonight. I think that this is one of those days where people are like, screw it. I'm having a couple extra shots tonight.
Saturday night.
Okay. Well, I respected if the person was drinking when they gave this prognostication. Oh my God, man, please.
Oh,
I like Jack said, I don't know the parameters for the G League guys and how many. I don't know if it's games or because before wasn't it games and practices counted?
Yeah, and then they changed it to games last year because of the bubble stuff, and they wanted to make sure the health of the team and roster. I think it was like 50 games, and then I think before that it was like minutes with the team and stuff as well, and travel. Like it counts as like a days and that sort of shit. So, it's hard to sort of keep up with that.
Here,
stuff.
let me read this. It says a player under a 2-way contract will be permitted to be on the NBA team's active list for no more than 50 games during the regular season.
That's it.
With no limit on practices, which is why we see them. You see the report of like, and people get all freaked out, but you see them, hey, he's being sent up for practice. He's being sent down for practice.
Yep.
That's why I got on they're being careful with the amount of games because I really feel like they're getting these guys in a position to be better off for us in the end of the season. Because it doesn't look like there is a time limit as far as when those 50 games can take place, which makes sense. I mean, obviously, Cam Sharp's different because Sharp's not on a 2-way contract, but it makes more sense to work on him. Kessler could be a little different, but that's why, like, maybe towards the end of the season, it's different. That's kind of where I was, like, looking at it. It says workouts or other activities. It says, there's no limits on practices, workouts, or other activities with the NBA team. I don't know if that affects the playoffs, but as far as I'm understanding, it's just no more than 50 games for the regular season.
Okay.
Yeah, the 23 games in now, 59
with
to go.
No, go ahead.
I was just saying 23 games in 23 games in now, 59 to go. Yeah, there's still plenty of time for him to get some run.
Exactly.
Yeah. I was gonna say with respect to, and man, if I'm not the president of the Kessler Edwards fan club, I'm one of the founding members.
Let's express.
That guy is the fact that Sean was able to get him in the draft is it's a damn heist. I mean, there's really no other way that I can describe getting him in the draft. It is a heist. I don't know how much he'll be used this year, but even before Cam found his confidence and started playing, the way that I've looked at it is because there's so many draft picks that have been traded for the next few years, firsts and seconds, Sean made sure these 5 picks were legit potential for the next 2 to 3 years down the road.
I agree.
So, with respect to Cam getting his shot right now, Day'Ron basically being traded for Landry Shamet, who got a contract, and I don't hate on the man getting his money, but is clearly not worth that contract for the Brooklyn Nets, right? So you get Day'Ron Sharpe. Sean was attempting to get some sort of continuity going because there's a number of guys who are on minimums and 1-year deals who may not be here next year. So having Kessler around and for him to be picked in the middle of the second round, quite honestly, if anybody has watched any film on him or anything like that, you could have made an argument that Kessler could have been picked with the 29th pick. He was a first round talent. Like how he made it to the middle of the second round, I don't know, but he was a first round talent. So the idea that I've already spoken about Cam and who he's practicing against, Day'Ron Sharpe. Day'Ron Sharpe gets to practice against LaMarcus Aldridge. I don't remember if it was on your stream or if it was on Spaces, but people commented a few weeks ago the way LaMarcus Aldridge dominated the young front court of the Orlando Magic, how he just completely destroyed Mo Bamba and Wendell Carter Jr., right? Because that's going to happen because they play him a few times a year. Day'Ron Sharpe gets to practice against him, Blake, Clax, Millsap. You see what I'm saying? He's practicing against legit guys. Kessler Edwards already looks up to Joe Harris. He's practicing against KD. He's being guarded by DeAndre Bembry. You see what I'm saying? So whether he gets to play, I think playing would be valuable, but he's getting to practice against these guys also. He can be a valuable piece, if not next year, the year after that. But Sean took these 5 guys because essentially the expectation is that David Duke Jr., who wasn't drafted, but they could not let him go because another team would have signed him. The expectation is that David Duke Jr. and Kessler next year won't be two-way guys. They'll earn contracts and they'll take somebody's place who's on the roster right now. So in theory, next year, David Duke Jr. will take Javon Carter's spot. Kessler Edwards will take someone's spot. Now, before you would
whether
think
it's Bembry or Brown, possibly, yeah.
Right. Before you would make the argument that he would take Bembry's spot, but clearly they have to keep Bembry. Like,
yes, without a doubt. Yeah.
I mean, but then that leads itself to this. Because I don't know that the Nets have any picks in this draft coming up, and I think they traded cash in one of these deals, so I don't know that they're able to buy a second-round pick. Marcus, I don't know why I always want to call him Mike. Has anybody seen Marcus Zagorowski play before?
Yes. I got laughed at.
Marcus, he's a very complete guy.
We call him Zigga Zigga. Remember Zigga Zigga?
Jay, what's his last name?
Marcus Zagorowski.
See,
Oh, that's crazy.
He was testing you, but I got laughed at. I got laughed at for when he drafted Marcus Zagorowski, because I watched him play. Watched him study some, and there was something about this kid that I was just like, "Yo, this kid looks polished. His shot looks good. He looks like a legit point guard."
He's
I'm not
Van Vliet-y.
What's that?
I was about to say he reminds me very much of Van Fleet.
Very unpolished, unfinished version. I think Van Vliet's he's an incredible defender. I don't know.
But in comparison to other people at that stage of the game,
yeah,
I'm just saying his shot and his pass, like how he carried himself, looked very polished in comparison to, say, other people coming out of college. Like he just looked good. And I don't mean to interrupt you, Jay, but I think the kid is going to be something good for us. A great role player for us in the next couple seasons. I really do.
There's a reason why I asked if you all had seen the guy before. Marcus Zagorowski is an NBA player, and I'm going to say something, and people are going to probably think that I'm drinking. And it's Jack. You know I love Patty also. So it's no disrespect to Patty. Marcus Zagorowski is the second best shooter in the Nets organization.
Ooh, wow!
Wow. That is a take. That is a take.
He's the best.
Marcus Zagorowski.
I'm almost tempted to put a cap on, but I don't know.
No.
I'm doing off the strength. It's you, man.
Marcus Zagorowski is the second best shooter in the Nets organization.
Like when Katie's on the bench?
Marcus Zagorowski is the second best shooter in the Nets organization.
And Jay, why are you doing this?
And Joe Harris is the first.
Jay, why are you doing this?
Marcus Zagorowski is the second best shooter.
I hear why you doing that. Why?
That's why I love Jay.
Yo, you all have not seen this kid shoot. Marcus Zagorowski is the second best shooter in the Nets organization.
He like that.
Is there something, Jay, behind the scenes? Because we know the Nets when it comes to coaching shooters. Like, I'm not sure who their shooting coaches are, who these. I mean, obviously, is it Kyle Korver working with him or something? That because he had like a nice shot in college. I'm sure Saint probably knows a little bit more about that than I do. But what's happening behind the scenes with that? Is that sort of being honed in on by, a Korver when he comes in every now and then, or some other assistant coaches, or the guys in the G League sort of letting him be a flamethrower or whatever?
Yes. And the way that the Nets do it is the Nets have more coaches and more assistant coaches than any team in the league.
Yeah.
So, and a lot of people don't know what I'm about to say. They have certain assistants that's assigned to specific guys.
It happened to Joe back in the day, and he sort of taught, and D'Lo, and back in the sort of Kenny Atkinson days, they had their assistant coaches. I remember talking about that on the Buzz and stuff.
Yep.
As you guys are talking, I am going to play, I think, a minute thing of Zagorowski hitting some mad threes. So just so people get an idea of what Jay's talking about. So you can guys keep talking, but I just want people to see his shot.
The fluidity is there.
Yes.
The fluidity is
that
there.
Was the very first thing that for me personally is what I saw. And just his ability to bring the ball up, pass it, shoot it. That was the very first thing that attracted me to him as I could see this kid being a great role player for us. I'm not saying he's going to be a starter. I mean,
you see the name of the team?
The Cap.
That's well placed.
He's a smart player. He does have good basketball IQ as well.
I
just think he's going to be a good piece for us going forward. I really do. People
that boy look wet. Look at his shot. That boy shot wet. Look at that.
The guy's brother is former NBA Rookie of the Year.
Yeah, Michael Carter Williams. Yeah, Michael Carter Williams.
Michael Carter Williams is his brother.
Damn, Wow, I'm saying he looked familiar as hell.
Yeah,
His
I
lineup real
remember.
sharp. That's probably where his powers come from. That's where his accuracy come from.
Fucking Julian.
That's
You gotta
what it
pause on
is.
his lineup. You gotta pause on his lineup. Like, I think it's at the end.
No,
That's
that line,
more of
look
a-
at it
that's
like
more of
somebody
like-
did
no,
it
no.
with a razor. That's where
No,
his
that's
powers
more
come
of
from.
like
I
a
swear.
dude. He's got more of like a Caesar thing going on, bro. Though, like it's not that tight. Like, come on. But yeah, I agree with you, Jay. See, I'm glad to hear you say that because I got laughed at when we drafted him.
He's another guy for where he was picked. He should have already been gone. It's like Sean picked, and even Rayshawn Gray. Sean picked 5 guys who should not have been available when he picked them. And you can make the argument, with the exception of Cam Thomas, because we didn't have a pick before that. And Cam Thomas was expected to be a lottery pick because he was invited to the lottery.
Yeah.
They only invite, I think, 14 guys.
20. Yeah.
Well,
They
I mean,
invite 14 guys.
There is no. Sorry, go on, Jay. Go for it.
No, I was saying he was supposed to be one of the top 14 picks. We got him at 27. Every other guy you can make an argument could have been picked with the previous pick. So Dayron Sharp could have been picked number 27. Kessler could have been picked number 29. Marcus Zagorowski could have been picked where Kessler was picked. Raekwon Gray could have been picked where Marcus was picked. Sean got very good value on all 5. He got great value on all 5 picks. And the plan is that DDJ, who was undrafted and should have been drafted, and Kessler Edwards are going to play their way into contracts. At the very least, like the kind of 3-year contract that Sean likes to do, play their way into that for next year. And then between Zagorowski and Raekwon Gray, that they'll play their way into the 2-way contracts next year. That's the plan. So all of these guys are on 2 to 3 year trajectories so that they're already in the organization. And Saint, that also answers your question about the roster makeup. It's one of the reasons why Sean made sure the team was so deep, because rather than waiting on the buyout market and who may or may not be available, what's wrong with giving guys 4 months with the team to see if you need to move on from them when the buyout market comes? Because legitimately, we have a team right now, with the exception of Dayron Sharp right now, and I'm not saying that he shouldn't play or he shouldn't get an opportunity, because quite frankly, maybe he does deserve an opportunity.
Yeah.
But the other 14 guys can be legitimate role players in the NBA.
Yeah. I mean, to me, there was no. I didn't find it surprising that he literally drafted you like a full team: point guard, shooting guard, small forward, power forward, and a center. Like, I felt that was by design, in my honest opinion. Like, when I looked at that, like, I felt like he's like, I'm going to give you a full squad that's going to be great for our bench, and it's gonna help solidify the future. Because when you do look at the contracts and you look at how they lay out, they are, if they keep progressing the way they are, they singularly are going to be great parts in the system and alleviate having the turnover that we are going to have every year, as long as we have the big 3 under contract, especially if we re-sign Harden and Harden gets that max contract and we're going to be hitting $50-60 million a year, and Kyrie hopefully comes back. And I'm not even going to get into that, but say Kyrie comes back and they re-sign him too, his contract's going to get even more. So it's like, you are going to be faced with every year a roster turnover, and guys like these that he's drafted are going to be very integral parts, and it's going to be plug and play every year of finding players to come in for that 1-year deal, that $2.6 million deal, to make things work. But yeah, I appreciate you guys both coming on tonight, Jack, Jay. Jack is definitely, I'm glad I just threw it out there. I didn't want to stream, but I'm glad I did. Jay, it's always awesome having you come up, because you do give another side. You give a lot of truth. You bring a lot of calm to some of the insanity that I think Nets fans can get into, whether it's here or on Twitter. I mean, it's just the truth, man. Like, I got to ask this question, and then I'll leave it at, are we going to be happy with any, all I'm asking this, I don't even just say yes, when, how, just say yeah. Are we going to be happy anytime in the next 2 months with news on Kyrie?
That's the expectation.
Okay. I'm going to leave it at that because I'm not going to lie. I'm getting at a point where I don't know if you've noticed or caught it, but I've been doing a thing called What's Kyrie Doing? It's been my way of like dealing with the frustration of Kyrie. And one of my favorite things that I've created with one of my co-host Rage was like every day when we have a game and I do Kyrie, like certain things, like Kyrie today went and saw like a yogi and the yogi told Kyrie to meditate. So Kyrie was meditating today. That was a big thing about his future and what he should do, whether he takes the jab or I don't know, whatever the yogi said, meditate. But I always end like when he was watching the game, like this is Kyrie, right? Like that's Kyrie. Like no matter what's going on, win or lose, Kyrie's watching the game. So
he's a positive guy, you know.
He is. He's always smiling, and all of his photos that he sends me, he's smiling. I think you've seen this. This is absolutely my favorite.
Oh man, that one is so funny,
dude.
That's
because I swear so I picture his face. I can literally picture his face under the mask, bro. Like, it's hilarious.
That is
like this to me is like single-handedly the greatest thing somebody has created for Kyrie this year
ever. Like,
outside of the memes that I've created with Rage. This is single-handedly my greatest thing. Like, because that's been the only way I've been able to deal with Kyrie like missing, because I'm getting to the point where it's like listen, I don't think anybody else. And here, I'm going to show you some other ones, Jay, just to make you laugh. But because I don't think you've been lucky enough to catch my the great work of art that we've been doing here. But like, this is the only way I know how to deal with like the fact that Kyrie's not here, because I know that there's nobody else that can improve this team better than Kyrie being here. And it is getting to that point where you don't quite know which way it's going to go. And at least that's my take on it. So some of the other ones that I've been doing, Jay, and I will end it with this, was when Kyrie's been doing his whole Matrix thing, like Kyrie was in the Matrix, like fighting people. The many trips that Kyrie's been taking to Seton Hall made him go back to school. He joined school again, and he's now the starting point guard for Seton Hall.
Oh, goodness.
But it's the same face. That's what gets me.
I know.
It's
But
the same
that's
picture.
the best
Like, no
part.
matter what's happening.
Kyrie got playing flag football again.
Oh my God.
Kyrie got doing his own research on the vaccine. Like that was my other one. And then this one, Kyrie making some new clothes, like taking some time to make clothes for his baby.
Oh
Like,
God.
I just want good news, bro. Like at the end of the day, it's like, I think Kyrie comes back. This changes the dynamic of everything. And everybody, like it makes glaring issues in our team less glaring. It just puts us in a realm that is damn near unstoppable. And I hope you're right, bro. I hope, like, because I try to, every time I want to go over the line and get really pissed off at the Kyrie situation, whether it's at him, whether it's at the team, whether it's at fans, whether it's at COVID, like I always kind of hear your voice in the background going, just relax. And I hope, I hope you're right, brother. I mean, because this would ultimately be the greatest move the Nets could make, is getting this man back. No other trade, no other thing is going to improve this team. But I'm going to take your word. And with that being said, Jack, I'll let you say anything you want. Shout out your podcast, like throw some plugs up there, like say whatever you got to say. I really money you coming up just on a whim, and you will definitely be back on here. I really appreciate having you up. You are definitely a Nets Kingdom star in my world over here. Like you're a W, so
Thanks,
plug
man.
away.
thanks for having me on, mate. It was awesome chatting next and chatting with Jay, chatting with everyone, chatting with the fans and stuff. Brooklyn Buzz, catching all streaming platforms, subscribe, 5 stars. Got a little bit of merch we've dropped lately. Check out TeePublic or the pinned tweet on my profile. Probably not the greatest time to plug James Harden one, but you can always get some other merch if you want to do that as well.
I did retweet that. Yes.
It's a cool design.
Wait, here, let me, sorry to interrupt you, but let me do this to give you more. I like ruthlessly plugging people because it's all love here, but I think this is what he's talking about.
Oh, that's good. I like it.
TeePublic, it's James Harden. Everybody loves James Harden with his smoothies. This is I think this is awesome. I think this is great. I may have to buy
really
one.
Enjoying that smoothie that one game.
Oh man, those smoothies look fire. Absolutely fire.
It's crazy how he's put more emotion into the smoothie than actually being actually.
Why you do that, Chubbs? Why you do that?
Why you do that? You can go follow Jack at Jack Manuel on Twitter, and he's got it posted on there. Yeah, for sure. So I mean, that's money, dude.
Appreciate the love, Jay. Always, everyone here, always good fun.
I know.
Yes.
Back
up.
Yes, sir.
More than welcome. And I know Jay's not a ruthless plugger, but I mean, if you want to check Jay out on Jay from Brooklyn on Twitter, dude, Jay's a good man with good knowledge. He's I don't even know how to say it, but Jay puts a lot of people to shame with some stuff, and it's fun to watch. It's just James. I mean, Jay, you made the Twitter world enjoyable and palpable for me is I guess the best way to say it. Cause I didn't realize what I was getting into. I've always been this fan, then got into streaming, doing this, then doing that. And then all of a sudden I'm like, hey, let me check out this Twitter. And yeah, you've made it much easier getting into the Twitter world. So I do appreciate that. Jay's a good dude. Ray, Julian, Chubbs, as always. We're gonna forego the last words tonight. The stream started out very depressing for a lot of us, but I think it ended very well with Jack and Jay. So again, appreciate you guys coming up. Chat, smash the like button on the way out. Subscribe. Check these guys out. It was a good time. Appreciate it. Love y'all. I accidentally hit the wrong button, Jay. Did I kick everybody out?
Yeah, I think they're gone.